If you run a company or manage a team, hiring qualified people quickly can make or break your business. Imagine a position of need going unfilled for weeks or even months because you just can't seem to find the right candidate. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people you want faster. This makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts. You only pay for results on your job post. Just in the last minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Now that is fast. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. Listeners will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Go to Indeed.com/BWN right now to support this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey guys, how we doing? Welcome to what is possibly going to be the saddest group therapy in Pod Maverick history. I'm Kirk Henderson. You're joining me just before midnight. Let me post this thing to YouTube. I'm here. The Dallas Mavericks have traded Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers in exchange for Anthony Davis, a 2029 first-round pick, and Gabe Vincent. I think they're also sending out Maxi Kleber and one of the Morris twins, whichever one plays for our team at the moment. Oh, God. It's just before midnight on February 1st. Shams Charania cracked the news about 25 minutes ago. The funny part was, guys, I'm sitting here and I'm really considering going to bed. I was writing a preview and I see the feed. All of a sudden, Mavs Moneyball pops live and everything's coming out and we're trying to figure it out if Shams got hacked. And it just seems to be a real situation here. I'm going to read some tweets here, which is not exactly the best version of podcasting, but that's just the way this goes. Josh Bowe may be joining us soon. Not really sure. I'll probably host a little bit of a live show here, and we can kind of talk through this for anybody that is at all interested. I don't know what to do kind of at the moment. Holy cow. So Mark Stein indicates that this is entirely coming from the Mavericks end, that the Mavericks decided to make this move. Tim McMahon talked with Mavericks GM Nico Harrison, and according to him, Harrison said that I believe that defense wins championships. I believe that getting an all-defensive center and an all-NBA player with a defensive mindset gives us a better chance. We're built to win now and in the future. According to McMahon, the Mavericks had major concerns moving forward about Luka Doncic due to his constant conditioning issues and looming commitment of another Supermax contract. Mark Stein of DLLS and the All Cities Network says that Luka was not asking for a trade, that this came entirely from the Mavericks end. The Mavericks did this on their own. They have informed Luka, and until tonight, they were heading towards a 5-year contract extension in July worth a record $345 million total, and Nico Harrison made the call to abruptly change the direction of the franchise with one of the most stunning trades in NBA history. I don't know, guys. I don't know. The Mavericks received one first-round pick in this deal. The Mavericks, who are leveraged in the future, they have a pick swap out with the San Antonio Spurs in 2030. They already sent out their own 2029 pick. I'm pretty sure that was the one that they had to do some trade in order to get Gafford. Honestly, guys, I'm not particularly up on the trade stuff, because when you have a guy like Luka, you don't have to do this sort of thing. You don't have to care. You're paying attention towards the now, because that's what's going on. And it's really, this is just shocking. This is shocking. And, I decided that I would go ahead and live stream just to sort of live react to it, because I think I'm going to be up all night anyways. The last time I was sort of like this visibly shook with a Dallas Mavericks like trade thing where I was, or not trade, but like transactional thing that really bothered me, was the night that DeAndre Jordan basically changed his mind about the Mavericks. It seemed like, in hindsight, we now know that he was pushed into this, or pushed into signing with the Mavericks, or considering signing with the Mavericks, then moving away. And that's just sort of how we ended up where we are. Or that night, that was how it ended up, where it's just, I was sitting in front of my computer all night long, kind of constantly refreshing and hoping that it was fake. And I have to say that that's where I am tonight. This is the sort of thing. Right. Alex in the chat says this is 25 times worse. I mean, it's not even 25 times worse. Like, this is the sort of thing that happens that decimates fandoms. Franchises wait entirety of existences for a player like Luka. Dilla Cruz says this is like trading Dirk after 2006. I guess. I mean, here's the sneaky thing, man. Luka's better than Dirk. I hate saying that, but I hate saying it. I'm not sure if Josh is going to join us. I'm wondering if anybody wants to talk. I'm going to post the link in the chat. We can maybe do a little bit of a live stream. If you guys are popping in from Twitter, head over to YouTube. You can join us live. I'll bring you up here and talk on stage, part of YouTube. And we can sort of hash out what we're thinking, kind of where we go from here, if anywhere. And we'll go from there. So I'm going to post this in the chat. And we'll see how many people actually want to hang out. We got a ton of people that have popped in from Twitter, but that's kind of come and go. The numbers look massive, but I don't think they're really accurate. So I'm going to pin this to the YouTube chat. I'm kind of operating on my own tonight. I wasn't really prepared to do this. As you guys can tell, I'm a little bit sloppy and I'm a little bit just off kilter. So I'd appreciate it if you had any patience for me. This is awful. There's just kind of no other way there's really no other way to talk about it. All right. We got a bunch of people already waiting. Thanks guys for coming up. Let's talk. And, I don't want to keep people for too long. I want to, if you got trauma processing, this is kind of what this is. All right. We got my man Leo up first. Hey Leo, what's going on, man?
Hi, first off, how are you doing? You've been a fan for so long and this sucks.
I mean, look, man, the Mavs and basketball are really a part of my identity. My love for the Mavericks came about when I was a young kid. and it'll stay afterwards. Guys, I already see the whole room is filled up. So if you are waiting to talk, I'll let you know as we'll move people in and out quickly. And then we can kind of go about our evening here. So just basically I'll tell you all to post or to try to join again if you want to. But we're going to move through folks quickly. I'm not doing very well, man. I've not, just candidly between you and me, I've not had a good day personally, and just fucking sucks.
I'm sorry. I hate to be like the conspiracy person or thinking bad shit.
No,
But it's
man.
Like, was this a money move? Was this like the only thing that makes sense to me is either Luka went to a fucking like massage parlor, that or they're trying to cut calories.
We'll learn in the coming days. It's got to be more than what we know right now. That's what I'll say.
Are they doing this to cut the fan base in Dallas and move the team to Vegas?
No.
This
was a decision. This was a decision that there's something that we don't know going on here is where I am.
All right. Well,
no worries, boss. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you kicking us off. Okay.
Thank you. Goodbye.
All right. Later, buddy. All right. Coming up next is my guy from Mavs Moneyball, Sudarshan. Good morning, or whatever time it is there. You're muted. No, your audio's not working. It doesn't show you as not working. I'm going to punch you and bring you back for a minute. You mess around with it. It'll tell you if it's working in the testing zone. David, what's going on, man?
Man, this is terrible.
Yeah.
This is just fucking terrible. Like, I mean, they say it's a win now, but
what is a win? Like what?
Like, what is win now? Like, who scores on this team? I mean, Kyrie, bad. Everybody in our team is 30s. Like, Clay, Kyrie, AD. Like, can the NBA like veto this trade? Like,
no.
Full of Chris Paul.
It's just heinous, man. Like, there's no other way about it. It's such an awful feeling, and that's part of why I decided to stay up and do this, because it's like fandom is about suffering through shit together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll tell you, when the Mavericks weren't that fucking good earlier, not in this season, but for a while, I was living in DC, and I remember like being like, well, I got to listen to Kirk because he's just gonna be just as mad as me.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, I'll let others get in.
Hey, man. All right. Talk soon, David. Have a good one.
Right. You too.
All right. So let's go to Sam. Sam, what's up, man?
Hey, Kirk, man. Excuse my language, but it's fuck Nico Harrison up to this point. Like
yep.
Fuck.
Yep. To all the weirdos who would post shit like trust in Nico.
Nah,
do you trust him now?
That's out the window, man. And
I
Nico,
don't.
Fuck that. Like you said, there's more that's going to come out. There has to be more that has to come out, because this honestly, legitimately makes no sense. You can't say it's a win now move when you trade away the player which your whole team is built around to win now.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. You got Clay, you got PJ Washington, you got players that play around Luka that Luka makes better. How does that make sense? I get it. 80, when he's healthy, top 5 defender in the league. I've been trying to rationalize it for the last 30 minutes, trying to say, okay, what would the lineup be with the Gaff or with the Lively, AD, and whatever, PJ? Defense will probably be good. Be good. But who's going to score? Kyrie, he got a bad back. Who knows when it's going to give out? We got Jaden Hardy. We got Spencer Dinwiddie. We don't got nobody. We got Klay Thompson, who's been hot, granted, but dude.
You want to know how I know this trade is fucked? In just a real way. The various Laker people in my life who are maddening fans are all like, dude, what the fuck? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I have Lakers friends. They're like, why would you give up the you had a top 5 player that you were going to be in the mix for a decade, and you just gave it up for what? Possibly a 3-year window if we're lucky?
Yes.
If we're lucky. And then what's going to happen after that? We got to hope for in 2029 the Lakers suck so bad that we draft the next Luka or the next Zion.
When Luka is still with the Lakers.
Oh, this Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I'm gonna be able to sleep tonight. This fucking.
Man, it's awful.
Let me get off.
Awful. All right, man. See ya.
All right.
All right, man. The room is popping. Everybody's like, so if you're trying to get in here, not to sound like an idiot on Twitter, but if you're in line, stay in line. I'm just going to be up. We're going to be talking through people. We can hang out. We can get through this. No, we can't. We can't get through this. This is bad. Cade, welcome. What's going on, brother?
What's up? Can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, I've been listening to you for a while. I really appreciate what you do, but I may not be back.
I get you.
I'm 25 years old. I've been a Mavs fan my whole life. I was 11 when they won the championship. Waded through some really tough years, and then you get the guy.
Yeah.
It was him. And like, I just feel like such a massive sense of betrayal.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe this. I don't think I can watch another Mavs game again.
They've really, and the best part, I don't mean to.
Sure.
The best part, and there's no best, but this is a bleak thing. There's the Mavericks people who have to sell the team to us. I'm not going to name names. You know who I'm talking about. There's a lot of them. Now I have to sell this, and it is indefensible. So good luck. Good luck to them.
Yeah, I'll hop off. Thanks for letting me go. It's just,
of course, buddy. No, appreciate it. All right, thanks for hanging out. All right, who we got here? We got my man Zach. Zach, what's going on?
Absolutely fleeced.
I mean, fleeced. Like, this is getting your shirt pulled over your head and punched in the stomach until you throw up into the shirt. That's what's happening. Like, this is heinous.
I mean, I'm trying to make sense of it. It's like we traded Luka, who had conditioning problems, for Mr. Glass. I don't get it. I just don't get it. It makes no sense. And then on top of that, 1 first-round pick,
right,
in the distant future of 2029. What are we talking about?
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Like, yo, all that in Nico we trust, like you said. Like, I'm trying to see the vision. Like, okay, Lively, AD, PJ. Okay, that's a good defense.
They're gonna have to move Gafford in the next couple of days, right? Like, you don't have Gafford, AD, and Lively in the same backcourt, do you? Or front court, sorry.
Or maybe you do because they want AD to play the 4.
Right. That's the thing. It's terrible.
This is man.
So this is a silly thing, man. But it's like, a lot of people in my personal life know I do this stuff. And so my phone right now is variations of what the fuck from every person that I know. And I just don't have good answers. I don't have good answers.
Same. I have a good Lakers friend, and he feels sorry for us. And they never do.
Think about that. They never feel sorry for you.
They never do. I'm like, yo. Oh, man. I'll get off of here, but I'm just as shocked as everybody else. I'm trying to make sense of it. I don't know where we go from here, but I'm still a fan, but I need time to process.
Yep. All right, man. Talk soon. Have a good one.
All right. Take care.
Okay. Daniel. What's up, Dan? How you doing? Good to see you tonight.
Good to see you, man. Just like I just don't understand how the Mavs could do this and make it easier for the Lakers to re-sign Luka.
Yeah, he does. Like, Luka misses out on his super duper max, but I mean, for a guy that is going to make $1 billion in his career, it is what it is. That's not our problem anymore, I guess. I am flabbergasted.
Yeah, I mean, my sympathies go out to Mavs fans. Like, I just don't understand how you can at any point entertain trading a franchise superstar like that, and then to go ahead and do it to the Lakers. It's just like, did you call any other teams in the league?
Right? Did you do anything? Did you try? And it's like they sought this out. That's what is so baffling. You see, like I guess part of me would understand entertaining talks because that's just how you got to do business. But seeking out trading the 5 straight time all NBA guy, I don't care about conditioning. I don't care about it. I don't care. Like that. There's just no excuse. Hey, guys, if you're trying to get in the room and it's telling you no, I got 10 people waiting, keep trying. We're going to get through everybody that wants to talk tonight, okay? I got nothing to do. All right. Dan, you got anything else for us, brother?
No, I'm good.
All right. I'm going to talk to everybody in tonight like I am Hulk Hogan. I just can't help myself. Will, what's up, man?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for letting me on.
Absolutely.
Middle of the day here in Australia, and I'm just,
It kind of ruins your day.
oh man, what flipped me out was I got a notification from Rob. I was saying Rob Press on Twitter, going, "Is this real?" I'm going, "What's all this about?" And the first thing I did was look at NBA box score, see, there's nothing that surprising, and then all the Twitter just blew up, and I'm just astounded. I've been a Mavs fan for 20. This is my 26th year as a Mavs fan, and
right,
this is the most shocking thing I've seen. Like, we were so close last year to winning it all, and then we made a team to suit Luka, and the whole roster construction now is just not. It's not really. It's not going to work. It's a team built for mediocrity now with no decent draft picks, aging squad.
I don't understand how you get one draft pick. That's the part, like, of the variations of fuckery that we're experiencing, that's the one that makes zero sense. One draft pick?
Yeah. And it probably won't be a very good one. It'll probably be like a 22nd pick in 4 years' time.
So I got to address a comment in the chat. I don't like doing this mid talk, but Tyler says, how does Tim McMahon already have a conversation with Nico about a trade that was 30 minutes after it's reported? Because that's his fucking job. Like, that's what reporters do. I know half of Mavs fans want reporters to wipe, Luka's ass and tell Kyrie he's a good big boy, but reporters are supposed to ask questions. That's why. I'm sorry, Tyler. It's not your fault. I'm pissy. Like, that is what's supposed to happen. He like has him on speed dial. Like, you bet your ass. Like, I have Stein on my thing. I texted him. He hadn't answered me yet. AD is out for the week. Thank you, Gracie. Will, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. It's just going to be interesting to see how the roster composition is going to look like going forward. I think this team will. Yeah, I can't see us getting any further than being a play-in team and at best first round fodder now. And with the aging squad and everything, the future looks really bleak now. Like, I'm absolutely baffled. So, yeah. Don't know what else I can say. You don't trade away your franchise player.
Yeah. This is just going to be a thing that we're never going to live down. I mean, this is like, in my opinion, this is a franchise ruining move. So,
yeah,
pack them up. Pack them up. Well, thanks for hanging out. Okay.
Yes. All right. Bye.
All right. Oh, good gravy, Simon. What's up,
Kirk?
Tell me you're coming out from a night in DC.
No. I spent too much time at the MGM last night, so tonight was a night in for me. I was just getting ready to shut my phone off and go to sleep, and then it's like everybody else. I thought Shams' account was hacked.
Yeah. I mean, he never says anything like "this is real."
And I've obviously I've been watching the Sports Center. I've been reading Twitter, like just everything, like trying to make sense of it. Like, did Luka demand a trade? Was he unhappy? Like, what, is his injury worse than we think? What's going on? I did hear, I'm watching Sports Center. I did hear McMahon go on there and say, like, well, that the Mavericks were frustrated with, conditioning or lack thereof, and how that had led to the injuries, and they didn't want to get it from the Supermax. And I can understand that to an extent, but it still in no way justifies what we're seeing right now.
That's
like,
right.
It's just such a leap to go from we're unhappy with our best player to we're going to trade him for pennies on the dollar for a guy who's 6 years older who also has injury history. What? And I was hoping maybe can you illuminate me, Kirk, at all? And I mean, was Luka unhappy? Were there any reports of like Luka being unhappy? Did
Mark
Luka
Stein
want
says
this?
this. Mark Stein says this is everything from the Mavs end.
Yeah,
He said it's entirely Mavs.
and that's kind of what Windhorst was saying. Now Windhorst, he's got some anti-Luka.
Yeah, but I mean, that's like there's thinking Luka needs to be better, which
and I've come on here and said that a million times.
Yeah.
You know, and like I love Luka, but I'm not a fanboy for anybody. You know, I think I've only been on once this year. I was on a lot more last year, especially toward the playoff run. But when I came on here, I said Luka, I don't know if he's not in shape or if he's hurt. I don't know, but he didn't play this year what he's capable of, and we've seen that from him in the past, and he's turned it up, and I was certainly expecting him to do that.
This is a good question from the chat. Tyler again says, it's not suspect that Tim asked Nico anything. It's suspect that Nico willingly gave a half-cocked statement to a report on ESPN instead of coming on the air himself. Here's why he won't come. He won't come on the air because he doesn't want to say anything that's not pre-approved. Like when you're in a PR crisis mode, you can't fuck up. And like they gave as vanilla statement as they could. I got 2 PR people that are waiting to talk to me. My buddy Ben in the chat looking for it. Well, he's more marketing, but he still understands what I'm talking about. What else, Simon? What do you got? Because I've had
I'll say this and then I'll hop off.
Sure.
The part of this that really sucks is that there's no way I can root for Luka when he's on the same team as LeBron James. It's just not possible. So I'm depressed.
Yeah, no, it's something else. Simon, thank you for hopping on. Always appreciate you.
Thanks, Kirk.
All right. We're gonna go to Karam. Welcome, friend. How you doing?
Sad.
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck just happened? What the fuck just happened? It makes no sense at all. I'm pretty much speechless. I don't get it. I mean, is there another trade on its way?
There has to be something else.
I mean, I get it. Luka has come every year for the past few years out of shape, and we kind of start slow because of him. But I mean, I don't know. I'm speechless. I don't get it. I don't get it unless something bigger is on the horizon. This makes no sense. And to trade him, I mean, Rudy fucking
to the Lakers too.
I mean, Rudy fucking Gobert had what 5?
No, all the picks. Yeah, all the picks.
And
like
Luka only ends up. I don't get it. There has to be something bigger on the horizon, because as it stands, Kyrie, Luke, Kyrie, AD. I mean that's not gonna get you. We went to the finals. I don't know. I'm losing my mind. I don't know. I don't know. You can pass on to someone else. I'm sorry.
Hey, you know what? I just want to let you know. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on the show. Okay, really.
30 years. I've been a Mavs fan for 30 plus years. I'm 38 now, and
it's awful.
I don't know.
Thanks for spending time with us tonight, though. Okay.
No, thank you. It's late over there for you. It's like 12:20.
No, I'm gonna be up. I'm not sleeping tonight. All right. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Upgrade your business with Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning fewer carts going abandoned and more sales going cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, get a commerce platform that's ready to sell wherever your customers are. Visit Shopify.com to upgrade your selling today.
All right, now we're going to try Sudarshan again.
Hey.
There we go.
What's up?
How is India handling the Luka Doncic news?
My parents are calling me to see whether I'm actually like alive and functioning, which I keep cutting the call and telling them that don't bother me right now because you're not going to get a good reaction. I mean, I've been a fan for 25 years. This year was the highlight in that I got to watch a game live for the first time in my life. And in the same season they pull shit like this. I mean, from now on, if the AAC isn't a ghost town for every game, and it doesn't return to being like how it used to be during COVID, I mean, I don't know what would be going on. Like, I mean, there needs to be some sort of repercussion for pulling shit like this.
Yeah. There won't, like, the repercussion will come in the fact that the Mavericks, already a distant third in the Dallas sports market, will become like blindingly irrelevant. That's like the real fact of this.
Yeah, I mean, right now I think everyone's clinging on to the hope. Townsend just tweeted saying that the call to the NBA regarding their approval hasn't gone on yet. This has just been discussed with the teams, but I think that's immaterial at this point. Adam Silver.
Oh yeah. No, it's yeah.
He's not David Stern. David Stern vetoes this trade and tells the Lakers and the Mavericks to get their asses back to work.
Yeah.
And more than anything, the fucking Lakers.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
The Lakers. Yeah. And like there will be no justification for this.
No, I mean, yeah. And Townsend just tweeted again, this is all Nico Harrison. This had nothing to do with the owners, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is Nico trying to get himself fired. Something must have happened beyond the scenes where you don't pull shit like this.
Yeah. I know.
Anyway, man, I mean, props to you for actually like being out here and listening to all of us vent. I'm sure you just want to go and like, I don't know, bang your head up against the wall.
Well, I still got to write a preview for the fucking Cleveland Cavaliers game tomorrow because our volunteer, and granted, we have site volunteers, so I'm not shitting on anybody, but the guy who volunteered for it forgot it was a 2:00 game, and he told me, he's like, hey, I'll write it when WrestleMania is over. And it's like, do you watch wrestling? WrestleMania will be over at sometime in March. Or not WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, my bad.
Kirk, I have an idea. A simple 3-word preview for the Cavs game.
Fuck the Mavs.
Fuck them Mavs.
All right, Sudarshan. Thanks, my man. Be good.
Take care, man.
All right. We're flying through people. So if you're in line, stay in line. Keep trying to join the room. CJ, what's going on?
Hey, Kirk, can you hear me?
I can. You sound good.
Cool. I had a friend FaceTime me, I don't know, maybe 30, 45 minutes ago. And he said, hey, did you hear the news? I was like, no, what news? He's like, yeah, WrestleMania, this, that, and the other. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't watch WrestleMania. He's like, guess what? We also got Luka, because this guy is also a Lakers fan. And he screen recorded my whole reaction to this FaceTime. So
that's fucked up.
It is.
A true friend stabs you in the front.
This is the Lakers. Oh man. So I don't know. It's been hitting me more as I've been listening to you guys. I don't know. I felt like I was in shock earlier. I don't know which more.
What's going to be really funny, and this is the truth. Appear Now, Appear Later talks about this. Like, I'm sure the Lakers will figure out something, but the Lakers, who is guarding? Like,
none of them play defense at all
already. It's going to be like a different version of the 2022-2023 Mavs, only they have a little bit of a boost right now, so they'll probably be able to ride it out.
Yeah, man. I mean, is LeBron out of there? Like, at this point, too? I mean, like, they're blowing it up, right?
I don't know, man. It's a weird deal.
God. I was just hysterically laughing.
Yeah.
And then the sadness. And then other feelings also. Did you see Dirk's tweet?
No, what'd my man say?
He didn't say anything. He just sent the little surprise big eyes emoji. And I don't know. It just I'm like, Dirk sees this, it's real. This is where we are right now, man.
We're not going to shit on Luka. This is, if the Mavericks did this, then I have no interest in shitting on Luka.
Oh, no, not at all.
No, I'm pointing that out to everybody that's listening too. Because I'm sure it's like sometimes when we get mad, we have a tendency to say things we don't mean, or at least my mother does. So we just want to have that out there. CJ, thank you so much, man. You got anything else?
I don't think so, man. We'll cross the rationalization bridge later on. So,
all right, talk soon. Have a good one.
You too,
if you can, if it's even possible. All right. All right, Mike, welcome to the show. What's going on?
My man. First things first, speaking for the entire NBA community, as someone who's gotten to know y'all over the better part of last year, I'm sorry. This sucks. Like, genuinely and sincerely sucks for all the Mavs fans I know. DMing with Robbie right now, just being like, dude, I feel sorry. It's like, this is hard. I guess my first thought is, to go big picture, is there any thought this is an Adelson's thing?
No,
Like,
they don't care.
They don't care?
They don't care. Like, why? Like,
Okay.
the Mavericks are like a dollar bill in a portfolio with $1,000, or in a wallet with $1,000 in it. Like, they're some of the richest people on the planet. Like, this is, the Mavericks don't matter at all. Like, and they're, he's like, so I'm sorry, I'm looking for a way. I can never remember how to get my thought bubble off my own face. There it is. My bad. So I was doing two things at once. Josh is now joining the show, but that's my co-host. This is just a Josh and I will talk about it, and we'll keep bringing people on. But like, this is just there's going to be, like, we're going to be talking about this night for 25 years.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, this is, there's, I guess, two quick thoughts on this. One, the idea that Nico Harrison did not shop Luka around the league, even on like a very touchstone level, to like, why wouldn't you trade him to OKC and clean out every single fucking asset they have?
No,
every single one.
He's a 5-year sleeper agent.
Like,
gotta put on my Kanon hat. He was sent by the league, by the Lakers, to join the Mavericks 5 years ago to incept this into happening, and that's where we are. That's where we are.
Like, Kirk, genuinely, like, I don't understand how. I put this in chat earlier, but Luka has more All NBA first teams than guys like Dirk, KG, Steph Curry, and the same as Jason Tatum.
Yeah,
that is insanity. And the idea that you would only trade him for one first and a 31-year-old center who can't stay healthy, granted an All NBA very good center, is mind-blowing. When, by the way, you have a great young center under a rookie contract. Like, what?
I know.
I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, all I can say for you guys is I feel for y'all. This is a tough night. I was there with Mookie Betts a couple years ago with the Red Sox. It's the only comparison I can make.
That's actually not a bad one, because it's like that was a big "what are you doing" at the time too. Yeah,
and the return is similar, where we got like two middle of the road decent players and some draft compensation. But yeah. So anyway, I don't want to take up too much more time.
You're good, man. Thanks for hanging out. All right, peace. So guys, Josh joined us. He was working in real life, and then we're gonna keep pulling people on, but I'm gonna let Josh give his take real quick. Ben, I see my buddy Ben is down there dying, and two Bens. We have multiple Bens, but we're gonna get everybody on, and we're just gonna be sad together. Josh, tell me what you're thinking, brother.
I just personally motherfuck this organization to the Earth's core, because. I just had to go fucking wake up my wife. We have had a toddler with a fever for a couple of days, up and down fever. She's going to be okay, but 3.5-year-olds don't like to sleep with fevers. And Kirk, your two kids have given you hell with sickness plenty of times.
Children don't sleep. They're probably awake now.
Our
they
household,
might join the show soon.
Our household hasn't slept since Thursday night, and I was on the couch next to my daughter. I moved her mattress into the living room to make her comfortable to sleep so she could watch TV while she's sleeping, because that was the only way to get her settled. And I got to get up. I got to wake up my wife and tell her. And part of my brain is just like, fuck it, because this isn't my real job. We both have other jobs. But also, not to get not to have Josh therapy session live on the internet. I need this money. The money we get from this is pretty inconsequential, in the grand scheme of things, but I need it to pay for her daycare. And I can't say no to 20, It's
Yeah,
not
whatever.
$20,
Yeah, the
whatever it
money
is.
that helps. Yeah.
It all helps because I need it. I don't know what to say. We're not at in a place in our lives where we can just wipe our ass with this and nah, it doesn't matter. No, I have to get out of bed and do this shit because I gotta pay for bills that matter. And I just like that's so all of this is coming from that. So granted, this is probably going to be all biased takes, but there's that part of it. I don't understand. They detonated a generation of fans, and maybe I'm overselling that.
No.
I mean,
this will not make sense ever. Like Nico Harrison should go to fucking prison for this. Like if you think there's insider trading going on, and lots of people do, the more I look at this, the more unjustifiable it is.
No, yeah, and it's like I don't know how they're going to sell tickets. I don't know how they're going to get fans in the building.
I mean, you don't got Cuban there fluffing everybody anymore. There's none of that shit. You got Patrick Dumont, who looks like one of the
Little Rascals.
Alice in Wonderland. He looks like one of the Tweedledee or Tweedledum. Okay, paired with the Mad Hatter. Like he looks like those two blended. Like he's not going to go out selling and telling everybody under the sun that the Mavericks are great the way Cuban gaslit everybody for 10 years. That's not happening.
This is like if the Mavericks in 2009 traded Dirk for Amari Stoudemire in a first round pick.
Right.
I'm not even kidding. This is that your son has a personal connection to Luka, and I think is probably why he likes the sport as much as he does.
Yep.
I'm sure there's a lot of folks our age that have relatable experiences with their kids. Someone tweeted at me like, my son is literally asleep in his bed in a Luka jersey. And not only you do this and you detonate goodwill with the fan base, but you do it like there's no like Kyrie is 32. Anthony Davis is going to turn 32 in about a month. Clay is 34. No one on the team besides Derek Lively. This is a mercenary team. No, there's no like Kyrie is.
And they have no assets. They have no future assets. They've given them all away. This team is going to be mediocre until at least 2030.
I mean, even let's say they're right and they win. Like even if they like win a title, I guess that's what it all matters. But like emotionally, like sports is for fun, and this is really revealing like the cold, calculated part of it. Because it's like I honestly want to ask a bunch of people like. Let's say they do win a title. Are you going to be like none of these guys on the team you've rooted for more than 2 years? Like Kyrie is pretty much the only guy he's only been on the team for 2 years. Like if they win, what's the journey? What's the path? What's the fulfillment you get from it? Because that's why you watch sports. You obviously there's a competitive part of it. You want your team to win, but I don't understand. Even if they win, but there's a shelf life. Like there's a shelf life. Like all those guys are old. When they're old, I don't know how they reload. And again, maybe we sound, I don't know.
God, dude, I love this. Somebody just pointed out in the comments. Jeremy pointed out in the comments that Dwight Powell survives another trade.
I know. None of it makes sense. The basketball part of it doesn't make sense. They will likely be a worse team on the court this season. The future asset part of it doesn't make sense because we will disagree. Like, the Mavericks have given their reasoning so far. They've said they don't like that Luka doesn't play defense and they don't like his conditioning. Okay. We could disagree with that all the long day. Let's just get to play. All right. We accept that you just don't like Luka. Okay. You don't call Oklahoma City and ask for 5 of their 30 picks. You don't call the Utah Jazz and maybe ask for like Lauri Markkanen and a few of their picks. You don't ask, there are like 4 or 5 teams that have a lot of picks and maybe some young, like, I don't get it. And I'm guessing the reasoning is because of Kyrie and Clay. They felt like whatever return they got for Luka had to be a win now move. And they didn't want a bunch. They would like, I'm that's the logic. Like Nico probably didn't want a bunch of picks.
Yeah. Cause
quite frankly, he's going to probably get fucking fired before he could even make those picks if this trade doesn't work and the team bottoms out. Like if he made this trade and traded for like 5 first-round picks and the Mavericks don't win a title and this team sucks and they're tanking in 3 years, he's gonna get fired. He wouldn't even make those picks anyway. So why does he care?
That's right.
Like in that part of it, like like that's another guy's job. I don't give a I don't care, because if this doesn't work, I'm out of a job anyway. So, yeah, that part doesn't make sense. And then I don't the fan goodwill. I heard you talking about it somewhere. The Mavericks are already not one of the most, even with Luka, their relevancy in the DFW sports marketplace is not secure.
Doesn't exist.
There is definitely, not saying there's not a committed fan base and there's not a bunch of people to watch, but I'm just talking in terms of like the mind share. This is a Cowboys town, and Mavericks fans will probably say, okay, well, they're number 2. Like that number 2 spot kind of rotate. Like we just saw the Rangers win a World Series, and all my friends that watch the Mavs too were they're I don't care about the Mavs right now. I'm watching the Rangers win a World Series. Like the number 2 spot behind the Cowboys in DFW will rotate.
That's right.
And I don't know how they recover from that part of it. I don't know how they sell tickets. I don't know how they have a community to buy merch. I mean, I'm sure it'll work out for them, because that's how this shit goes. Is people just kind of keep turning the wheel anyway. But there's that part of it, and then another emotional part of it is I don't know how long our goddamn site and podcasts are going to last, because the Mavericks just got nuked into irrelevancy. And if no one goes to our website and no one listens to our podcast anymore because they don't like the Mavericks anymore, that hurts our nut, and that sucks. That's why when people get mad at us about being mad at the team, we always kind of laugh a little bit, and we're like, guys, we're not rooting for the team to lose, because if the team is not relevant, this doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, no one cares. Yeah.
So that sucks too. That's another part of it that's really pissing me off. And I'm not even like fan part. You know what? Like we've talked. I'm not the hardcore Mavs fan anymore. But like this shit is just beyond that.
Well, do you want to hang out with us here, or do you want to go back to bed?
I'll hang out for a little bit, because I'm already up now. So I'll wait for the next emergency.
But, yeah. All right. I have my friend Ben, who this will be twice. I'm seeing my friend Ben in 2 days. How you doing, bub?
Kirk, feel for you. First, Josh, that sucked. I heard that man. Like, didn't really think about the impact on your site, but I'll say there's a lot of money to be had in like being pissed off in sports journalism. You turn on ESPN, everybody's just yelling. And
you're right
anymore, because I don't want people yelling back. Like
I hear you, dog.
We also got yelled at and gaslit by the fucking enablers media that support this team. That work for the team. That it's granted. I understand the way this shit works, because that's just the way that's the way it is. But like nobody in Mavericks media except Tim McMahon ever asked a cross question for like 10 years. So every Mavs fan out there thinks he's some bumbling asshole who doesn't know how to do his job, because he doesn't walk into the locker room and ask Kyrie how nice his shit smells. That's just I mean, that's what's so blinding to me is like Cowboys journalists are mean.
Yeah.
And it's so weird. Anyway, what do you got for us, buddy? You're up late. You're gonna have
one bright side
in the morning. Why this
ticket
happened?
Prices are about to get a lot cheaper. We can finally start going to some games.
Okay, I like it.
I became a Mavs fan when my dad could afford to buy courtside seats when we sucked in the 90s. So now maybe I can do that with my son. I made a terrible decision earlier. I sent it to you, Kirk. I already cut off the head of my son's plush Luka doll. That was when I figured that Luka must have demanded a trade. So now I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to tell him in the morning. But mostly came on here because, Kirk, you're stepping in. You're taking a charge for the Mavs community. And for those that don't know, Kirk is the back-to-back Take a Charge champion at Coppell High School, 2001, 2002. We were just there last night celebrating it. If you want the picture, there's a proof. I've got it. He's real proud of it. Take a Charge champion. Kirk, you're stepping in, taking a charge.
This is a problem. This is a problem who I shared a freshman A team bag with in 1998. Thanks, Ben. Oh, all right, Ben.
Can I bring
anything
else?
Just calling me for some reason. Sorry.
Sure.
And Kirk, I wanted to talk about.
I'm going to bed.
Later, buddy.
Thanks, Ben.
What do you got?
You know what I'm not looking forward to, Kirk?
What?
I'm not looking forward to all of the media sphere that got pissy at us anytime we suggested, hey, It'd be cool if Luka's, did work on his conditioning more, took care of his body more. And now they're gonna toe this line, the team company line, about how well, we got to get rid of Luka because he's not committed to the team. You know what's gonna happen now all week, right? All the same people that bitched at us for 3 years, anytime we ever lightly, gently, maybe made a point of like, hey, maybe he could be a little bit better about this. It's not a deal breaker, but maybe he could be a little bit better. They're gonna come right back around and be like, he was totally out of shape and uncommitted. They had to trade him,
including. And look, if you're hearing this. And what I'm about to say, if you're hearing this and it upsets you, that means you're the problem. So what I'm about to say, so let's be clear. If you're one of the people that shit on me and Josh constantly, just a Twitter account that pays for Twitter and stuff like that, and love to argue with me and side clip Josh and I and talk about how we're horrible people all because we would say things for engagement so Elon Musk can pay you $6.72 a month back in your account, just know that you were wrong the whole fucking time, and we were right. Kiss my ass. Ben Collins, welcome to the party, pal.
Hey, man. I just want to say, first of all, I'm really sorry. And Josh, what you just said there, about, this actually mattering to people around this organization. The kids who Luka was incredibly good to. Luka was an incredible servant to the city and the kids around the city. After the games, he would sign all the jerseys. He's a good kid.
Luka's great, man.
He's a good human being. And the fact that they are going to put random people's, livelihoods at risk to prove a point about, what this feels like? All those articles like about like the kids don't want to work anymore. Kind of feels like that, man. It kind of feels like maybe this kid doesn't want to work for you. And this is the most talented basketball player I have seen in my life. Like, I have never in my life seen a more talented basketball player than Luka Doncic. It's just true. Like, I don't know if it will always translate. We went to the finals 9 months ago, or less than that. What was it, 6 months ago? This is completely ridiculous. I do want to say if it is the party line here, if it is what they say, it's malpractice from a GM standpoint. You conduct an actual trade search where you pillage the Thunder, where you pillage the Spurs, where you go to these teams that don't give a shit that you're in the division. If you're in their division, it doesn't matter if you're getting rid of this player because you're tanking for years. Right now, this team has no future. It's worse. It has 3 centers, a 34-year-old point guard, and a bunch of random wings, one of which is a 3 who is washed. Let's be real about Klay Thompson. And he's here for 3 more years, 2 more years after this one. This team has committed suicide for no reason. And I don't really, dude, I am not a conspiracy theory guy, but this just does not feel on the up and up from a Rich Paul, LeBron James side. I just don't like it. It fucking reeks. And I'm sorry. I think
that's an interesting angle, right?
Guys, I'm sorry because I don't know if I can stand this. This is either the biggest ego trip of all time from some guy who used to work at Nike, or it is there's something stupid happening. It is indefensible at every level. And if I can give one last note, Josh, I will say some of the best sports writing I've ever read in my life came from Ricky O'Donnell, who used to work at Bloggable.
Yeah.
And
he still works for Vox SB Nation.
Still works at Vox.
Good guy. Yeah, we love Ricky.
And I'm not a Bulls fan at all. I had no connection to Chicago until I moved here last year. I used to read Bloggable all the time because their ownership was so dog shit. They were
still is.
And they still are. And Ricky, he became one of the best sports writers in the country because he would just say, something is fucking going on here. There is these people's egos are so profoundly strong that they want to be the 8th seed in perpetuity. And they just want to do this thing in their own way. And their own way sucks. And Ricky carved a path and a career out of that. And I want to say for you guys, that might be what your next thing in your life is that you have to oversee what is overtly, I think, probably the worst trade in the history of professional sports.
Simmons, I can't wait to be I'm not going to need caffeine for a month because I'm just going to listen to all the other podcasts.
I mean, like, when Nico left Nike, was part of his resignation letter, was Nike like, hey, make sure you get Luka to LA. Like that would be really good for us.
You
like,
do know that LeBron offered Luka to be his first signature shoe, right?
Shoe
On
guy,
the
yeah.
LeBron line. And Luka was like, no, I'm going to do MJ instead. I'm going to work with Michael Jordan instead. It's always, LeBron has always said he wanted to pass the torch to Luka. And we are in a place where there is a bunch of funny money going around the NBA. There are also gigantic egos. A billionaire, one of the world's richest people who recently funneled bajillions of dollars into an election, purchased this team from one of the world's richest people who funneled a bunch of billions of dollars into the election. They're just egos here. And
I'm glad you brought that up, though. Like, so the chat is a little hot on this. Do you think my take about the Adelsons proper?
Yeah, I don't know.
They're not even on her radar.
Why would you commit suicide with your team you just bought when you're trying to build a casino around your arena? Like, this doesn't make it. I think if it really is just Nico being the worst GM of all time, then yeah, I don't know. Like, you'd have to do some 4D chess there, man, that I have not thought of yet. But like, from a basketball and interpersonal, from a city standpoint, from a building community standpoint, from a for being stewards to your city standpoint, this is the worst thing you could do when you just bought a basketball team and you're not even from that state.
Yeah. Okay.
It makes no sense.
The only thing I can think of that even gives them an ounce of credibility here is if there was some indication that they knew Luka wasn't signing his next extension and he was going to LA. And by all accounts, we don't know that. And from what we're hearing from the reporting, Luka's blindsided, whatever. Maybe that's just how they're spinning it. And maybe the Mavericks are pissed off at that, and that's why they're kind of throwing him out the door, saying, well, he's fucking fat. We don't want him anymore, because they knew he was going to just sign
Josh, I think
in LA. But
honest to Christ, if it's anything, it's that. Because that actually does square the circle, where Lucas, they hear through the grapevine that he is going to LA no matter what. And then they know that for certain. And then what I would do in that situation, if I was Nico Harrison, there's nowhere else to go, I would try to get the best deal available with the time I had left in the season. Man, I'm actually not sure I would. You know what? I take that back. But, this is an option. Time I have left in the season to do it, trade him to the Lakers and then call him fat on the way out for doing it. Like, that is a revenge play, sure. But I still would have kept him for the half season. I would rather have that than Anthony Davis and a first-round pick in 2029.
Or just trade him. You don't have to trade him there,
guys.
You don't have to trade him there.
You could trade him wherever you want. He doesn't have a no trade clause, man. You can do it. If the bridge is already, if they felt like the bridge was burned somehow, internally, and he was leaving and he wasn't going to sign the Supermax.
That's right.
He had no leverage. He could go that you could. I mean, maybe Lucas said like, I'm not going to sign an extension if you don't trade me anywhere but other than the Lakers. I guess. I mean, that's some leverage, I guess. But I don't know. Like,
hire a nutritionist. Hire 10 nutritionists. It costs you less than nuking any goodwill with your fan base for a decade.
Yeah,
Ben.
Sorry,
okay,
I'm
no. Everybody, like
Tonight, if you're gonna get mad, you're crazy. This is when you do it.
Tonight is the take purge. Like, somebody jokingly, I really enjoyed this. It's a guy on Twitter who doesn't know that we can see his comments, because like if you post on Twitter, if you're listening, like it says we have 6,000. Like we have probably 1,000 people listening. It's just whatever. But there's a guy on Twitter who's like who said, way to make it about you guys, and he was joking, but like, tonight is the take purge. You are allowed to feel exactly how you want to feel, because there is no worse feeling in sports. I think the only thing that could maybe come close is like your favorite athlete dying in their prime. Like, this is horrible, and you are allowed to feel exactly how you want to feel is my thing. So, Ben, it's 1 in the morning. It's probably 2 in the morning where you are. You got anything else for us?
No, I'm just proud of you guys, and thanks for giving these people a release valve, because Jesus, do we need it? Oh my God!
That's right, man.
God bless, guys. Seriously.
All right, later,
good to see you, Ben.
See you.
Okay, coming up next, and again, guys, we still got everybody that's trying to get in here. Keep trying if you want to talk. I'm going to stay up late just because I'm gonna. Josh will probably peace out at some point. We have Rain's magnificent mustache joining us next. How you doing, Rain? Welcome to the show.
I'm fucked up enough that I decided to show my face. I've torn all my fingernails off. This is the same feeling as the last breakup that I had.
Yes.
This feeling that I have in my chest is just
it's awful.
An immense amount of pressure. I will probably still listen to this podcast like I have been, purely because I have not given a fuck about the team since Luka and Kyrie and everyone got interested. I've just been listening to you guys. Like, how did the game go? I'll go watch Pod Maverick.
Yeah.
I'll go listen to Locked On. I'll go check in with Slightly. What the fuck's going on? After this, that will be my only involvement with the team. I probably won't ever show my face in here ever again. But let's think about this. Think about this. No matter how fucking terrible his injury is, the Pelicans have stuck through with Zion. Embiid, the 76ers and Embiid, they've stuck through that.
Take.
They have given up on a generational talent early on in his career. Like, let's think about it this way. From the money perspective for the fucking team, even if you're bad but you've got a generational superstar, that's just guaranteed fucking money. And they've said, now, fuck this. Let's go get a guy who's got glass fucking legs himself. Let's go get a guy who's 7 or however many years older. Just arguably an indefensibly worse player at this point of his career. Like, unless Luka's leg is about to fall off and be fucking amputated, you do not do this. On top of this, no one's ever going to come to the Mavs again. Nope. Okay, you just had Clay come to the Mavs to play with Luka specifically, and also of course Kyrie, thinking, I've got a shot at a championship. I'm going to take a chance on this. I'm going to leave Golden fucking State to come play with the Mavs with Luka and Kyrie, and the team goes, "Nah, fuck you." Kyrie stuck with the team because he's playing with Luka. That he thought that they could get it together, and they said, "You know what? Fuck you, Kyrie." If anyone, no player will ever think about coming to the Mavs in free agency again. No superstar, no big name will ever come to the Mavericks ever again. It's going to either have to come through the trade, in which case, at the first opportunity, that player should fucking jump ship because obviously they're not going to treat you with no respect. It's indefensible. And they've, at the end of the day, they've also probably ruined Luka's career at this point because the fucking Lakers aren't in a good sort either. They've got no picks. They've got no tradable contracts. They'll just have Luka and LeBron at age 60, and that's it. What's probably going to happen, and this will destroy it. I don't have the same relationship with the team that you guys have. I've only been a fan for the past 4 or 5 years, and there's going to be thousands of fans like me, if not more, who will probably not pay any more attention to this team ever again.
Yep.
But for the long term guys like you guys, imagine this nightmare scenario. He doesn't re-sign with the Lakers. He goes to the fucking Spurs, and then you've got to watch him however many fucking times a year the Spurs play the Lakers, and you've got Wemby and Luka against you. Like, where the fuck is Mark Cuban? Like, is he on suicide watch? Put him on suicide watch.
He doesn't know the team, man. Yeah,
he might not. He might not own the team, but either he must not give any fucks about it again, or seriously, like, if he's going to be driving around fucking Dallas or whatever it was, trying to track down whatever player it was however many years ago, well, how do you think he's feeling right now? Like, holy shit, I wouldn't be surprised if Cuban shows up in here and is more aggravated than I am.
Well, that's because back then when he was driving around for DeAndre Jordan, that was his money on the line. He got paid, man.
He's still a minority owner, right? He still has just not a big enough stake in the team to be the majority owner anymore. So he should still fucking care. Sorry, I've just blown up everywhere and thrown as many F-bombs as there is.
No, you're good.
I came across this by accident. I accidentally opened it because I don't have Twitter or anything. I accidentally opened
ESPN would have
Reddit.
sent you an alert. Yeah, this has crossed so many streams. People in my life that only tangentially know that I do this have sent me texts, and it's late at night here. Like, this is the sort of thing that's gonna, like, we're gonna see a really weird story on like Good Morning America about this like Tucker Carlson is going to have a Luka Doncic take. Like there's going to be such a range of weird shit. There's just nothing like this. Like this is never, I'm getting texts from people where it's like, one of my good friends who's a NBA media guy says, I don't even know what to say about this because this does not make sense, because it doesn't. So.
Who knows? Maybe, did you hear about the FBI investigating Terry Rozier? Maybe there's some insider shit with this too. Like, fuck me. Like, it makes no goddamn sense. And did we go to the finals last year? Did that happen? Is that a fucking fever dream?
We're about to find this.
Do you think Kyrie's going to stay on his best behavior, or is Kyrie now going to force his way out? Because he thought this was a franchise that he could stick around with. No, obviously fucking not. Kyrie's going to be out of here.
Yeah, what's stopping Kyrie from going to LA next summer or this summer?
Man.
What do you know? Hey, I bet you next week you got Kyrie. He's talking about Palestine. He's going to bring every goddamn flag he can again. He's going to be bringing up every movie he's ever seen.
We're going to go on all the best streamers. So
I don't know if you follow any UFC. He's going to say Bryce Mitchell is his favorite UFC fighter. Who knows?
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us. All right, we'll talk soon.
See ya.
All right, we got a lot of people waiting, so we're going to try to fly through some. We got a long time, man. My cowboy, what's going on? How you doing tonight, buddy? Mr. Brandon.
I'm surprised. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound good.
I appreciate it, man. But yeah, it seems like it's somebody was doing some cooking in the back, but man, it was surprising. This is going to go down as probably one of the worst trades ever. But I mean, if there's any type of tampering, I think about it like this. It would be LeBron's swan song. He got his son on the team. He has Luka on the team. If he goes out with a championship, he's always going to be number 2, but he's going to stamp his number 2 legacy, with having, one of the best trades ever in Laker history in terms of that, plus having his son on the team and going out like Elway with one last championship. That's something I could think of, but it's bad. But just piggybacking off what the other guy said, Kyrie has a few more years left, probably one more year left. Clay has 2 years left. Think about it like this: next year, after next year, Lively have 1 more year left. So I don't know. It ain't looking good.
It's so tiring, man. Well, hey, I really am grateful that you hung out and stayed with us tonight. You got anything else for us, man?
No, that's it, man. I just hope they don't bring in Jimmy Butler. It seems like they moved the Anthony Davis contract and for Butler and some picks, but I hope not.
All right, man. We'll talk soon, okay?
Thank you, Kirk.
Okay, if you're trying to join and it's giving you a no, just know I can only have a certain number of people waiting, but then you keep trying. I'm going to stay on until nobody wants to talk anymore. Brian Roby, what's going on tonight, man? You're muted.
Dog, what the fuck is going on?
Well,
can you hear me?
we're maybe we can start having group chat meetups at Mavs games again because the tickets will be cheap.
If I can't show up to a Mavs game, one, I'm not spending money with that organization. Ooh. Secondly, if I do go there, it's to throw fucking beer bottles on the court. Anybody that's going to a game anytime soon, if you already have the tickets, don't sell those tickets. Go. Throw shit on the court. Not at players, please. Not at the players or coaches.
Right.
Throw trash on the fucking court.
If you happen to hit Jason Kidd, nobody will complain.
We'll allow it. Throw shit on the court, yell, cuss, get kicked out, do what you got to do. Let your frustration be heard. This is complete fucking bullshit. I cannot. Dude, I was drinking during the Royal Rumble with my friends. I got a text that sobered me up while I was sitting in my bathroom that said, Luka's not on your team anymore. What the fuck am I supposed to do with that? What reason do I have to continue to root for this team?
I don't know.
I don't have a good answer, man.
I don't know, man. I don't want to go root for another team. I'm just done. Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Nothing said around this makes sense right now. None of the explanations.
Well, all the players are stunned. Like the only people that like this trade are clutch butt boy Kendrick Perkins, who like there's these people out there, and like, look, again, I hate to call this shit conspiracies when we know this is how backroom business operates. It's
I
not
don't
a
give a fuck if I sound like
conspiracy,
QAnon, man.
like it's not
They
a
did that shit.
conspiracy if the dots exist.
They did that shit.
And like
This was an
one pick
inside
for
job,
Luka
dude.
Doncic, all the players are stunned. There's something afoot, and we're gonna learn about it one day. That's
I'm
what
not
I
gonna
think.
lie. I don't even know if I want to. This is fucked. This is fucked for the players on the team that got drafted here. This is fucked for the players on the team that came here because Luka was here. This is fucked for y'all because y'all make money doing this shit, and them being good drives shit happening here. This is fucked for like, dude. Just get this team out of my fucking face. Move them to Vegas. Move them to Vegas. Tear that arena down.
I'm trying to follow along as all this stuff comes out, and all the NBA guys just got pulled out of their bed to go put on ESPN. But Brian Windhorst on ESPN, say what you will about Windy, but he's basically plugged into LeBron. If you don't know, before he was at ESPN, he was the Cleveland Cavaliers beat writer when LeBron got drafted there. So he's been plugged into that for a while, and that obviously, say what you will, he is connected, even if you don't like him. Wendy says this is not about the Lakers, not really about LeBron. It's about the Mavs and Luka Doncic. One of the biggest, most stunning trades in the history of the league. My phone's exploded. Basically, a rebuke of Doncic. Mavs saying they don't think they can win with him. Defense, conditioning, ability to focus at the biggest moments. Luka was locked into the Mavs, and it's the Mavs who are pulling the plug.
Oh my God.
And yeah, I what's crazy is even if that's the lot, like that's a line of reasoning at least, and I don't agree with it for a billion reasons. But there is a part of me, like a 2% part of my brain, that like can understand how someone can get to that like thinking of like being frustrated about some of that stuff. But that how you go from that to then this trade, like that's the part where it's like someone has to be the adult in the room and be like, hey, I know this is pissing you off, but we gotta figure this
He's
out.
26, man.
Yeah,
Have they tried talking to him with a firm fucking voice? Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I don't know how you get from. I mean, it really is. It's
Here's
like
a take. Can I give a take?
Yeah,
give
it.
I don't want to source who this is from, but this is an incredible. One clue that Luka orchestrated all this is the immediate negative leak from Tim McMahon. This is a franchise that's highly pissed off at Luka. What do you think?
Wait, so you're saying what's coming from Luka? That Luka wanted to get out?
Luka's pissed. Yeah.
So that's
Luka
why
wanted to get out, and they negotiated a one-way thing with the Lakers, and the Mavericks basically had no choice.
And Luka's trying to cover his tail.
That's the only way this makes sense is if he told them or he gave them inklings or they got some breadcrumbs from somewhere that said, when it is time for him to sign that extension, he's not signing it and he's going to LA. That's the only way this makes sense. But they have to come out and say that. Mm-hmm. Don't give me this shit about his conditioning. That's fucking stupid. Just tell me he was going to leave.
Yeah.
Even if everybody doesn't believe it. Tell me that. Because that makes sense. And even if that is the case, what is this return?
Yeah, you're mad about a guy that can't stay in the court and his conditioning problems and injuries. Like, hello?
Did you get back Anthony fucking Davis?
Have you taken a look at it? Have you taken a look at Anthony Davis' basketball reference page? It doesn't take long to see how many games he's missed. Like,
there's a reason his nickname is Day to Davis.
Bro, Anthony Davis goes back to the locker room during games more than a fucking towel boy. And like, we got one first round pick alongside him back. I can't make sense of this. I can't make sense of this.
It's real bad. Well, Brian, I'm sorry. Thank you for coming to hang out with us.
Hey man, it's always good to hang with y'all. At least I
We'll
got y'all
be here. All right, man. Talk soon.
Yep.
Bye. Hi, Brent.
Hey guys.
You're coming us in from black and white from a bygone era. It's just the lighting of the room. You look good.
I'm sorry about that.
No, it made me laugh. What's going on?
guys, a little attitude. Because I'm trying to cope along with everybody else.
What do you think this is? This podcast might as well just like be titled "Cope."
I was in the 5th grade, and they had this rotational thing where some of us 5th graders would get the little sash that said "Safety Patrol" on it, right? And you do it in 6-week rotations. And all through elementary school, I look forward to the day where I could be a 5th grader and be on safety patrol. Probably something that these days would never happen. There was this little kid one day while I was on patrol at one of the doors who just started talking smack. He's probably a 1st or 2nd grader. Kind of looked like Gary Coleman meets Emmanuel Lewis. He was just sassing me, right? And I didn't think anything of it because I was just going to let him run his mouth. And then he started running towards me, which is probably all of 5 or 6 steps, and launched his leg into my crotch. And I had never been kicked in the nuts before. I didn't know what that felt like. I didn't know to block it or move out of the way. It was like a slow motion train wreck movie that I'm going, what is happening now? And then you feel it for the first time. And then for the rest of your life as a man, you know to make sure you do everything you can, although it's inevitable at certain junctures, not to let that happen. That's what this is sports-wise. This is that and worse. I run this little app, or I'm a user of it. It's kind of fun, my little distraction, because I won't do apps that cost me money. I made that mistake before. So I run this little app where you can buy plots of land and whatnot. And I went last time about a year ago to the Mavs game because I don't go to many Mavs games. And I bought all the squares underneath Dirk's statue. And I looked over on the other side of the Victory Plaza Park and I said, well, in a few years, maybe in a decade, there'll be another statue over there and I'll come back if this app is still around and I'll buy all those plots. How cool would that be? Man, I was with family when it hit and the Slack is going crazy. Mavs Moneyball Slack with all the other writers.
Tell them to write. Get in there.
And I'm gonna when I get off here, I promise. But everybody's hurting in a way that if you're not in this world and you don't care as much as we do, then my family was like, well, it's just sports. Like, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't change anything. It's difficult. It makes us appreciate that I don't just mean staff of the site. I mean, everybody that's on this podcast that cares enough to be here this late. It hits you in a way that goes beyond just, let's watch a sports game or even caring about a team. This is something that, I don't know, I'm almost 50. Maybe I'll live another 30, 35 years if I'm lucky. Who knows?
Wow. Somebody's feeling bullish.
Well, maybe, hopefully, maybe 20. I don't know. I'll still be thinking about this, man.
Yeah. No, I agree.
This is, I've got some notes here. The interregnum between JB leaving and tonight was stellar, amazing GM work in terms of taking assets out of thin air. How many times, a couple of times at least, did they need a first-round pick and just, trade a pick swap for a first-round pick? They did amazing things to build a team around Luka that we had been clamoring for all this time. It's like, get better players, put this and that around him, and they did it. Then they make the finals, and then it doesn't make any sense at all, man. I know that we're going to find out more, but that something more that we find out is not going to make us feel any better, because this was a statue-level player that and I say we loosely, but the organization gave up on 15, 20 cents on the dollar, if that.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because if your logic is like, we don't believe he's committed to defense and his conditioning, like, you made the final and you lost to one of the greatest teams in league history, by the way. You didn't lose to like some fluky Eastern Conference team you lost to basically one of the best teams who had one of the best single seasons in NBA history last season. You beat the two of the top 3 seeds. And by the way, the team was good before he got hurt. Yes. They were like top 5 in net rating on entering Christmas Day. I'm looking at it right now. They had an 8 net rating but entering Christmas Day when he hurt his calf. And that's with him coming into camp, with his injury. And again, maybe even if you think this is like a KP ticking time bomb thing, if you think it's that, then you shop him around. Like the more I'm thinking about this, the more I'm thinking
there's something afoot, man.
This
there's something. I don't care. This isn't my job. I'm never going to make any real money on this. There's something afoot that we're going to find out about years from now, and like the frozen envelope shit that Bill Simmons talks about. Anyway, Brent, you got anything else for us?
Yeah, I just think that AD and Kyrie are going to be gone before the end of next season, if not sooner. All of the pieces here don't fit without Luka. Lively is what Lively is because of that context. All these pieces were, and if you're Luka and you want out, why would you think that LA would be better based on that roster,
right?
And that asset management that they've done? I mean, they have made some horrendous moves. I wrote a piece for the site a few months ago about LA being a cautionary tale of GM mismanagement. I'm not a Cowboys fan. I'm a Seahawks fan. There's a quirky thing about me.
Good for you.
Ever since I was 8 years old, there's something about rooting for the underdog, which I've always felt like the Mavericks were. The Cowboys, Lakers, and Yankees are the same sort of, team that almost gets more attention than they deserve. This is just sickening. I don't know if the pivot is De'Aaron Fox lands here in the next 24 hours or something weird. Is there another shoe to drop?
Well, there has to be, because they're definitely not going to carry Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, and Anthony Davis on this roster going forward. Like, right? Like, there's no way, because you're going to. Because you're going to start Davis and you're going to start Lively, and I guess one of those guys is coming off the bench. But
all I know for sure, and I'll leave you guys with this, is that for all of the misgivings, especially in the back half of the Cuban tenure, that I know you guys liked a lot of things that he did in his first roughly half of his tenure, but the second half there was a lot of mistakes. One thing I know for sure is that he was not part of this decision. I don't know it for sure, but like in my gut, it feels real that he would not have been on board with this. That's the other part. He would not have, all things being equal, said that this is the way to go. Dirk, analogizing that to after 06 is just about right, because the age is pretty close. The scenario is pretty close.
Yeah. I said earlier on the pod, Brandon, I don't know if you heard, like, this is like if they traded Dirk in 2009 for Amari Stoudemire and a first-round pick.
Yep.
Like, you're nuking a generation of fans beyond whatever the basketball stuff is. It's just,
there is a growing delta with any NBA player where they hit a point where their peak is, and we don't know it at the time. They don't know at the time. You only know it in retrospect, right? But after that peak has passed, if they're a big enough name and make enough money, and you see this going on with Jimmy Butler right now, a delta is created where their value and their play and their availability starts to go down. Their salary stays the same or goes up. Their availability, it creates that delta where, Jimmy Butler's going to want $50 million a year, but he's not that player anymore. Right. And now you've got the bulk of the Mavericks talent or star talent is either not going to be here for very long, or that delta that we've seen with Butler is only going to grow. And the scenario where AD and Kyrie go, I want to go play here and chase a championship. That's the era that we're in. And the only antidote to that is to have a player like Luka that you can build around it. And I'm disgusted. Whatever the extra explanation and filling in the gaps that contextualizes this, there's no contextualizing that makes it feel any better.
Yeah.
And it's so weird because, Nico is there was obvious skepticism when he was hired because, guy that's not part of this industry and, just coming in, rookie, not only is this his first GM job, it's his first NBA job. So there's obviously some warranted healthy skepticism there. But after, obviously his first summer was not great with JaVale McGee and Brunson leaving and all that stuff. But, or maybe that was the second summer. But pretty much since 2013, he's batting 1,000. You think about since the summer where since Brunson,
it's been perfect.
Yeah, it's been the PJ trade, the Exum signing, the Derek Lively draft pick,
Washington Gafford.
Washington Gafford, Clay, Najee. Like, I can't think of a move, basically since, and the Kyrie trade is undoubtedly a massive win for them as well. Like,
sure.
I mean, in the last 18 months, he's basically made nothing but great moves. So, like, to do this, I would almost understand it more if he was making crappy moves for the last 24 months. I'd be like, well, he just doesn't know what he's doing. But
in a vacuum, this is a better situation for Luka. In a vacuum, leave out locale and the notoriety of the franchises. So if he does one out, if that turns out to be the explanation, then is it personality? Is it the new owner saying we don't want to be in the stratosphere beyond the first approaching the second apron? There's not as much room in between the first and second apron as you might think. Yeah. Did they reach a point where they go, this can't happen, which would just be silly. This is just silly season, man. Y'all have a good night.
Thanks so much, man. Talk soon. All right. That's Brent. He does a lot of writing at mavsmoneyball.com. You pop over there. My man, Matt. How you doing, man?
It's 2:30 in the morning. It was my birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday. Sorry for that.
Can I ask one thing about this conspiracy theory stuff that you guys are talking about?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't Luka say, give me my effing money then, like every other big-time player? Because now he got traded and he lost to Supermax. And I know you're going to say it's $60 million, but that's what every big-time player gets now. Every big-time player.
His next contract, he would be paid. If he would have stayed with the Mavericks, his Supermax with the Mavericks would have paid him $100 million more than whatever he can make with the Lakers.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If he would have, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's okay.
That is a lot of money to throw away.
I mean, right now, the way this is framed, honestly, the way this is framed right now is that the Mavericks got sick of Luka Doncic. That's what all the media framing is.
And Nico is on the record basically saying that to Tim McMahon. He's basically saying, like, we want a defensive first player. Like, you don't have to read between the lines.
Yes. What I am positing is that Luka cucked the Mavericks so hard that they're trying to get in front of this and saying, this was our choice. It was my choice to go sit in the corner chair. And I could be wrong. Who cares? No, we're never going to know. But this feels wrong is all.
I agree with you. I'm not, if he wasn't losing out on $100 million, I would totally agree with you guys. I'm not, it's $100 million. And then, I mean, I don't know if you guys have Stein up, unless I just saw he retweeted. Jake Fisher said that the Mavs have been trying to get a third team in to take more money the last week, and nobody had any idea for Luka. I mean, I know everybody's talking about this, but why the fuck wouldn't you shop him around for Anthony Davis when you don't have any picks? Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm a Luka fan. I love the Mavs. I fell in love with the Mavs. You guys are absolutely. I'll still listen to you guys, but man, it's gonna be hard. But I just appreciate everything. And thank you guys.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Talk soon. Okay. We got a lot of people waiting. Grayson, how you doing, Grayson? No, don't worry. Drink on the show. I would too.
I was about to ask, is that allowed? Are we allowed to do that?
Full disclosure, we're past this point. I haven't had a drink in several weeks, but you guys would not believe how much I drank during the shows where I wasn't in front of the camera. So
I bad. I mean, I feel like we're all doing bad. Can I tell a quick Luka story? Is that allowed? I know a lot of people are waiting. So my little brother is a Make-A-Wish kid, and he has done a lot of stuff with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And one of the coolest things that has ever happened to me is Griffin is his name. He got to be a ball boy at the Dirk Nowitzki Tennis Classic that they do season every year. But because he's 12, he needed a chaperone. And I was like, please, 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 please let me go. So I got to go. And I'm seeing Dirk, Luka, all these, Dallas legends, honestly, like right in front of me. And it was one of the coolest experiences of my life. But like I said, he was a ball boy. At one point, I don't even remember. I don't know anything about tennis. The ball just came over to us and we were on Luka's court. And Luka came over to my little brother and he said, hey, thank you so much. And Griffin handed him the ball and he said, what's your name? And, my little brother told him his name is Griffin. And that alone would have been amazing. But Luka, after the event ended, there was like kind of a back area. And Luka came in and he pulled us aside. He found us. And he said, hey, Griffin, can I sign your hat? And he signed Griffin's hat. And Griffin has it in his room. I mean, he's asleep right now. I'm not going to go wake him up for it, but he has it in like a little case. It meant the world to us. I was 15 when Luka was drafted. I watched the Mavericks growing up. I loved Dirk, but I didn't understand basketball. So Luka was kind of the player that made me fall in love with basketball.
Sure.
And this one just really hurts. It's hard for me to process this.
Yeah.
I know y'all got a lot of people waiting. I don't want to waste your time. It's just, man. It hurts. And it's hard for me to root for this team after this move. Like, I don't know if they want to move to Vegas. I don't know if they wanted to get under the luxury tax. I don't care if they win a title this year. Like what was said earlier, if they go and win a title this year, like that'd be great, obviously, but it wouldn't mean 10% as much as it would have been if we won one with Luka. That was our guy. We loved him, defended him relentlessly. And for the team to give up on him, I mean, like, come on, like, I want to give up on this team, but I don't want to root for the Lakers.
Right.
And I don't want to root for the Spurs either, but I'm thinking about it with Wemby.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do, guys. This is like one of the worst days of my life. I can't believe they did this. And I'm 23. Like, I get it. I'm young and it's like a crazy thing to say, but like, this is horrible.
It is horrible. No, it's okay to feel awful. It is. It's okay. We invest a lot of time in this.
It's just, yeah, exactly. The time and energy and the money too. The amount of money I spent on tickets, jerseys, like everything, man. Like I put everything I had into this franchise, and I feel like they just punched me in the stomach.
Yes.
I can't believe they did this. I hope Nico's fired tomorrow. Yeah. I appreciate y'all doing this and having us on, because this is almost like therapy.
That's why it used to be called group therapy, but I took the thing off. So, all right, man. Thanks so much. Talk soon.
Thank y'all. Have a good night.
You too. Okay, so we got a few folks waiting. I got my man Jason Gallagher, who's a longtime friend of the show, and I hope you guys don't mind. I'm going to let him skip the line because he's been texting me furiously for like 45 minutes saying that he couldn't get in, and I want to let him talk, and then we're going to go. All right, then we'll go with everybody else. Jason, how you doing, bub?
I'm okay. I have a theory that you asked me to come on your show to kill my very popular live stream on Twitter.
I did. That too.
I'm just kidding.
Specifically, competition.
The guy who came before me, his name's Grayson. Right?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That like hearing him talk is literally why this is one of the worst trades I've ever seen. People like, I was on a stream earlier and there were a lot of questions about like, hey, is this the worst trade in the history of the NBA? And I don't know about the history of the NBA, but when it comes to the modern NBA, I think the answer is yes. And it has nothing to do with basketball. I mean, it does have some stuff to do with basketball, but for me, it's like you built your entire identity, your entire brand around this guy. You got fans to fall in love with this guy. And you did this in this way. And the trickle down, every piece of information that you're like, oh, will it help it or will it hurt it? It always falls into the it's hurting it column. And I just am I'm just entirely stunned by how awful this is and how poor the communication's been, and the complete disregard for the fan base that had been extremely loyal to what it was that you were building. Yeah. I like actually what Grayson said was exactly how I feel in the text that I'm getting. People are texting me like someone died.
Yeah.
And they know how much I love this player, and they know how much Dallas loves this player. And and every question that comes my way, do you think he wanted out? Do you think he was trying to go to Miami in 2026? Do you think he's blah? Do you think it's a Supermax? Do you think all of those scenarios, if true, should be handled a bajillion times better than this, because you have a relationship with your fans. Your fans are as important to the fucking product as the players in some ways. And when they see that, I think what is going to make this so bad is, would you be shocked if the fan base really turned on this team? Would you be shocked if there were just like boos, like I wouldn't be shocked at all.
I mean, the people that go to Mavs games, particularly the lower bowl, every time I've been in the lower bowl Mavs game, it's a mix of hardcore fans that have been there forever and then like drunk people that don't know who the players are. Like there's very little in between.
But they know who Luka is. They know who Luka is. And I got a text from one of those rich people that barely knows anything about the Mavs tonight that was like, what the fuck? What's going on? And I really think that this is that kind of trade where every detail you read is just so bad that it's like, oh my God. I don't know if I can be a part of this frame. Like, I don't know if I can do
the one pick is the problem.
It's
what that like, that's where it's like, if you think there's a conspiracy afoot, the single draft pick is why, because everything else, like, okay, Anthony
Lakers
Davis
have
really
more
good.
picks to trade, by the way.
Yeah.
No, that's every text that I've gotten from basketball people is like, how do you not get the other pick? Like, how do you not get something else? How do you not make a phone call somewhere else? Like, this is, if any kids are listening right now, this is negotiation 101. You don't say yes to the first person who picks up the phone.
But that's why this all stinks. And
yes.
you watch these reporters, and I don't want to criticize anybody's reporting because I don't report. But you watch, like, you're reading all this, and you're trying to connect the dots with what they're sharing with us. And Nico only went to the Lakers. What does that tell you?
It makes no sense. And I'll say that I don't care about anything anymore. But like before the Tim McMahon thing, someone texted me. Apparently, they blindsided Luka, and I was like,
I don't believe that.
And dude, this is from somebody who. This was pre-Tim. This was somebody who would know. And it just said he didn't know. That's what the text said. And it's like, dude, I don't know, man. Something is crazy. I think that what you said about them trying to sort of convey strength somehow by getting ahead of something is probably the only explanation I can think of, but it's so bad. It's infuriating. And again, there's a way to like, for example, a few years ago, Sam Presti was forced to blow up the Oklahoma City Thunder when Paul George went over to the Clippers. When you set off a bomb within your organization, there's a lot of, residual effects that happen. And so what he did was he wrote a letter in the Daily Oklahoman to the fans that was just deeply detailed about the vision, the future, why he did it, all of this stuff. And it was so respectful to the fan base. Like, reading back on it now, it's crazy. And I know people who like kind of knew about that letter and they said he agonized over it. He was up, like, that's all he cared about was writing this letter to the fans. And I just like, the complete disregard for your fan base is why I'm so pissed. I know that there's basketball shit. I know that there's, picks and but there's no explanation that is good enough that explains why you would communicate like this to your fans. Defense wins championships. Do you know what fan base you're talking to? You're talking to the fan base that fervently defends Dirk Nowitzki was a better all-time player than Kevin Garnett, because we don't believe defense wins championship. We believe it kind of does, but we believe that a generational offensive talent is the loophole to winning a championship, and you can backfill whatever you need so long as you've got that one cheat code. And Luka was a cheat code. He was that kind of player, and that's the kind of fan base we've been for a long time. Defense wins championships. That's what I had to read.
I'm sorry. Somebody just tweeted Sham's password is KAdams123, and I nearly lost it.
We gotta laugh in times like these.
I don't. So if Luka came to them and basically told them like, I'm gonna leave, I'm not gonna sign the Supermax, I'm gonna leave, or I'm gonna sign the Supermax and demand a trade. One of those. You
can still get more later.
Yeah, like so. What lever? I need you guys to talk to me because I'm not as good at this part of the discussion. If Luka told them that, and let's say they felt like that Luka had the leverage where they had to make this trade. If you're the Mavericks, what do you owe Luka at that point or like, why even like, if I were Nico or like, I would be telling reporters off the record, yeah, Luka demanded a trade. Like, you know, I mean, do they get some satisfaction out of
and our chat
like,
is
I don't know.
Chat
like,
is bucking against this, and I think Mavericks fans are going to buck against this furiously. And I understand why, because you're looking at this, you're like, this feels like this came out of nowhere, blah blah blah. Why would the Mavericks do this? And I think that's what you need to come back to: is why would the Mavericks do this? Is Nico Harrison a moron? Is he a sleeper agent that's going to go work when the Lakers finally fire their terrible GM? Is Luka going to sign with Clutch? Like, you just have to, like, not to be the internet, but just asking questions.
No, because it makes that little sense, and
it makes that little sense, guys.
And crazy. And Josh, what you just tried to reasonably try to sort of pose this question. And I kind of said it to my buddy John Sabine, who's a big Mavericks fan. I said it to him kind of a similar way, and he was like, "Great, then he'll leave in 2 years." Like you didn't trade for a future, by the way. You traded for a pick in a man made of glass.
Yeah. By the way, are they gonna? Let's take this trade versus if they don't do nothing and Luka walks for nothing in 2 years. I mean, on an asset for asset trade, what are they going to look like? Even with Anthony Davis, like, is Anthony Davis going to be a major part of this team in 2 years with his injury history?
One trade in NBA history that is recent NBA history looks as stupid as this, and it's the Pau Gasol trade. Okay, it's the Pau Gasol trade, which was vetoed. You know, and what ended up happening. Obviously, Memphis benefited from that. In the end, everything was fine there, but like, that trade was awful at the time. And again, guys, if you're trying to get in the room, we'll move on from Jason here soon, but I wanted to bring Jason on. We'll keep trying. I'm going to stay up all night talking to people. I don't really care. It's you just, and look, if you want to call it cope, fine. I'm fucking angry. I invest an unbelievable amount of time into this team, and so do all of you. You should be angry. You know, what this tells us at the end of the day, and we know this is part of the byproduct of sports, but at least other sports aren't so naked about this. We don't matter at all. We are useless pawns that have no part in this. They want our money. They don't care about our loyalty. Nothing matters. Eat at Arby's.
I think Kirk, that's exactly right. I mean, when I think about my fandom, and how it began, going to games at Reunion Arena to watch this skinny German guy play basketball. And I spent 20 years of my life defending, cheering, loving that guy. And we were lucky enough to get a guy like Luka Doncic, who has the same kind of charm, who is maybe even more generational. He has this potential to be all of this stuff. And what's crazy, man, is that that is the kind of fan that you got. You got a fan that has seen the lows and seen the highs, and you ride with that player and you do all of this stuff. And when you do a move like this, I'm telling you, I don't know if you guys have read the Winds of Twitter or whatever app you're on. I can't find a single fan that's happy about this. And in fact, I'm seeing a lot of fans say, I'm done with this shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. And like, again, it's a real fucking problem, and it is going to be a problem. I was thinking about, like, well, hopefully Adam Silver overturns. Do you want Adam Silver to overturn this? You want Luka to come back here just angry? Like, I don't know, man. This doesn't make any sense. But as much as this is what's crazy. What we don't know is any particulars about the trade. What we do know is how they handled it, and how they're handling it is so insulting to the fans. Yep. It's so insulting.
Man, I really appreciate you trying to get on.
Good to talk to you. Good to see you, Jason.
Good to see you both.
Josh, you want to go to bed? I'm going to stay on.
I'm going to go to bed because it's time. I need to relieve my wife.
Enjoy the rest of your night, fellas.
Yeah. My last thing is, did Nico show his hand in what he prefers in that summer of 2023 when he brought in Christian Wood and JaVale McGee? Like, does this guy just want to collect big men like Infinity Stones? Like, does he just want a team of all setters like he tried in 2023? And now he's like, I got it again. I got the better version of it this time. I don't know. Maybe that's
all right, man. We'll talk soon.
All right,
okay?
I'm leaving. Eat Arby's, like you said.
Later, buddy. Krishna, you're up. Sorry. Thanks for waiting. Guys, if you're trying to get in the room, keep trying. Tell me what's going on, Krishna. I'm not seeing you this season. What kind of horse shit is this? I missed you. I missed your face.
I got a job in July, which was both a blessing and a curse in many ways.
Congratulations.
I enjoyed my job for the most part. I mean, it's money, so I'll take that much. But there's no words for it, Kirk. There's no excuses. There's nothing you can say, and there's nothing you can write that will describe the feeling of your heart genuinely just being ripped out.
Yep.
That's what it is. That's what it feels like. And there's no excuses too, right? Even if it's, hey, Luka wanted to go, if it was the Mavs were ready to be done with, if it's the owners weren't ready to pay the tax, if it's all a setup for the arena and we need to be under this line so we can pay for the arena, which obviously the taxpayers would end up paying for, or if it's we're going to move the team, none of those are good enough to even justify trading a generational player. The guy that so many other people clowned.
You get 5 picks from or nothing. 1 pick is unacceptable. 80 aside.
It's even if you got Cooper Flag in this next draft, that's not even enough. That's not even enough. Like you'd have to get Wemby straight up to be like, okay, we could do this trade. So to get a washed up I like Anthony Davis. He's a fine player. But you got an old Anthony Davis. You got a mediocre at best shooting guard. And you got a 2029 first round pick, which by that time, the Lakers will probably be fine because they'll have Luka Doncic. And that's it. That's it. Like that is depressing. And I don't blame fans for being mad. I mean, there's so many things that have been posted out. Like I think SJ tweeted, you can't even make this trade in 2K. If NBA 2K, the same app that I've used to trade like Samuel Dalembert for a prime Anthony Davis in NBA 2K13, I did that. If that same video game won't let you make this trade, I think it says it all. It says it all, honestly. And I've been pretty distant from following the team, not because I hate the team or anything.
Sure. No, just got stuff going on.
But it's just, this stuff is brutal, man. And you guys just talked about it with Jason. Like, they just view the fans as consumers. They don't really care about fans at all. And the worst part about it is I feel like every single sports team in the Metroplex is like that at this point. Maybe the Stars are somewhat of an exception, but even the Stars, like they've had moments where it's been this bad. And that's the worst thing I feel is I can get over this. I'll get over it at some point. Obviously, I'll still always think it's the worst thing that's happened in this franchise's history. Honestly, it is. But yeah, I think about like kids, and this is the first time like they'll ever have been through anything like this. I think about, the fans who go all the time. I think about the people who are going to work, people who work in the organization, the actual organization, who are going to get all kinds of stupid stuff said at them because of something that the owners and the GM made a decision on. And that's not fair to them. And that's the part that sucks to me, is that the people actually in the trade are probably going to be fine. They're going to make their millions. They're going to move on and whatever. It's the community and the people who follow this team that are going to be hurt and hold this forever. And, maybe someone has brought this up. You can compare it to the Wayne Gretzky trade in the sense that you've traded a generational player. The difference was Wayne Gretzky won 4 Stanley Cups for Edmonton. And when he went to the LA Kings at that time were a horrible franchise.
Right.
This would be like if you traded Luka to Charlotte. Like that's what it would, that's the equivalent.
Yeah.
And this is not that. This is trading Luka to one of the most historic franchises one of the most spoiled fan bases in the league, and not getting even anything in return.
No, but that's what's crazy is I have multiple Laker fans in my life, and some of them are just delightfully smug, mean, great sports fans to argue with, and even all of them are like, "What in the fuck?"
Yeah,
there's
no excuse. Like, this is the thing that got me back on Twitter after 6 months.
Sure, man.
And I immediately logged off. I was like, I can't do this anymore, and I'm just sad. Like, that's really what it is, and there's no getting over it. And you don't build trust back from this, you know?
Yep.
It's like getting stabbed, and then, you know, you go to the hospital and you somehow survive, and then that person that stabbed you is like, oh, you know, want to go out for coffees? It's like, you stabbed me.
Yep.
How am I supposed to trust you again?
Yep.
How am I supposed to, like, it is objectively awful. You know, this is, you know, for so much I use the metaphor of LeBron and the Cavs in the first stint. At least then the Cavs didn't trade LeBron away.
Yeah.
They didn't trade him away. He left. Like, and there's no excuse for this. Like, you can't say this is a win now situation. You have 3 players over 30 years old who have injury concerns in Clay, in AD, and in Kyrie. I love those guys. They're all good players, but let's be serious with ourselves, man. Like, no one is that dumb to think that you did this for any other reason, whether it was Luka wanting to leave, whether it was, like I said, all those reasons I gave before. No fan is that dumb to believe any of that. And the only thing that would even slightly, and it wouldn't even get me close to this, you have to completely pivot. Honestly, you trade everyone that has any value. You got to trade Kyrie. You have to trade AD again. You got to trade, I would say, trade anybody over 30 who has any value. You have to completely blow it up. But the thing that makes it worse, like you said, is you have to get first-round picks to do that.
Right.
You got to get first-round picks and put yourself in the sweepstakes for Cooper Flag. Yeah. You know, this is
just not happening.
Yeah. And you can't do that now. You got one pick. It's
one pick.
Yeah. Hopefully, you know, everyone feels a little bit better. What I'll say is at least the Dallas Stars are, hey, everyone can hop on that bandwagon. They're somewhat competent. They're like the opposite. I would say the Stars are very similar to Presti in that way. Jim Neal like frustrates everyone. He's the GM for the Stars. He barely makes moves, and he make like fleecing moves. He'll get like 2 players for a 3rd round pick, and then he'll draft like generational players in the 1st and the 2nd rounds.
Love that.
Yeah, he in 2017 he had 2 1st round picks and a 2nd round pick, and he's drafted like the 3 best players for the Stars on their team right now in that one draft, which was like insane. But yeah, well, this is Steppy and trade stuff. Yeah, from Jason Chang. This is Steppy and trade stuff right here that they're gonna have. Sorry guys, I feel bad that this is the reason I had to come back and start.
I'm glad you're here, man.
But hopefully everyone feels better and drink some fluids and hopefully try to get some sleep.
That's right. All right. Talk soon, man.
Awesome.
Be good. We're going to keep going. The road goes on forever and the party never ends. Sean, how you doing, man? Sean, you there? I'm going to unmute. This is a good, while you're unmuting, there's a question. I like this question. Chris in the chat says, why does everyone think this trade is so bad? Someone explain it to me. I know basketball pretty well. And I'm not going to be dismissive because there's going to be people that ask this kind of question. The short answer is that if you assume within reason that Luka Doncic is a top 3 NBA player, which I think is fair, getting a top 20 NBA player in return and 1 pick is not good enough because the margin between the top players, like your top 5 versus your top 10, the gap between each one of those players gets exponentially wider with each player. Like Jokic right now, I think Jokic and Giannis are a significant margin ahead of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Tatum, et cetera, et cetera. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Sean, how you doing, man? Sorry to keep you waiting.
I'm good. No worries at all. Sorry. I couldn't sleep after this happened, and
I'm cooked.
We have an 8-month-old, and I'm pretty sure she'll wake up any minute now. So
sure. My 15-month-old was having a rough time going to sleep. I should have known I was fucked.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, first off, thanks for doing this. Been listening to you guys for a while, you and Josh. I comment on Twitter a lot mostly, but I mean, just kind of the sentiment of what Jason said and some other folks is like it just feels like nuking the soul of your team, kind of. Like I really been a Mavs fan since I don't know. I grew up in Dallas, so unfortunately, I'm a Cowboys fan, Mavs fan, Stars fan. Lived outside of Boston for a while. And my wife, I introduced her to basketball, and I really got her watching it. She'd seen it before. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll root on your baseball team. So I picked up the Red Sox, and I think someone said it
The
earlier.
Mookie Betts trade, yes.
This reminds me of that. And I had just picked up watching it. I was like, man, Mookie is awesome. Like, this team is so cool. They had a couple Rangers at that time still on the team 2018, I think, when they won the World Series. And oh my God. Anyway, so yeah, it feels like I'm trying to think is like I remember when when Cuban traded Nash, and I was like, okay, I still don't think we should have done that at that time. But there were, at least at that point, legitimate health concerns. And maybe there are here that we don't know, but legitimate health concerns and him already being older at the time. But Luka's, what, 25, 26? And then to trade him for a good player, but who's has his own health issues, seems kind of crazy to me. And then also, so I went to grad school at MSU, so it's a little cool getting Christie back, or well, getting to watch Christie at least in the package. But it's like, oh yeah, that's like, I mean, not the trajectory of where we thought the team was headed necessarily, too. I kind of feel like at a loss for words, and I don't really know what they can do. It seems wild that, I guess just depending on who you believe, that no one knew what was happening. So people you talked about and brought up is like, are league ratings that bad that they're just like, hey, we got to make sure the Lakers are like really good to get people back, But yeah, there's just so much here that just doesn't smell right. And like literally the only thing I can think of is that the calf injury, it was calf, right? Or whatever his injury is. Okay. Yeah, that the calf injury is maybe not quite healing as well as they thought, or there were still questions about how it was going to shape up, or I don't know, maybe this year they're like, we might get him back, but he's not going to be 100% again this year. And then with the coupling on top of, well, we went on a great run last year, he was still hurt. But even all that said, to not put out I would have rather traded him for Lauri Markkanen and like a ton of Utah picks, or I would have rather trade him to OKC for a ton of I think it just seems like such a half thought out decision right now if there's nothing else coming. And I think someone else brought it up too. Maybe Butler ends up here or something, and it really is like, hey, we really are going all in, and it's like if they manage to pull it off this year, great, or next year maybe, or whatever, But I don't know. It seems absolutely wild to me. I can't really process how you would wind up making a decision like this, especially after the runs that he was able to go on. Was it back-to-back years, or was there 1 year in between beating Phoenix and then getting to the finals? I can't remember now, but had some success, and so it just seems so crazy to me. It's like Dirk would have never survived to this, I feel like, because Dirk had so many more, I feel like, playoff failures first.
Yes.
Like,
oh my goodness.
Number
Yes.
1 seed, they lost the Golden State Warriors, and then the whole 2006 thing. And so that's like what made 2011 so special. And so it's like to have those stories, and like, wow, I still root and I still like the team and everything. It's just like I was talking to one of my buddies, and I was just like, I don't know what to do, man. Like, do I start? I mean, I have league pass. Do I just start watching Luka more now? Like, if he does play, do I just start spending time watching other players who I do like on other teams? Like,
yes,
I honestly have no idea. But anyway, so I just had to get on and talk to someone. So
I'm really glad you did. That's what the whole point of this was. It's tough. Sorry, and I've been looking down on my phone because all of a sudden, I hadn't looked that I had 40 texts. So, well, I'm glad you joined us. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, talk soon. Okay, now we have not that Nico top notch handle. Hit the unmute button. What do you got for us?
Yo, apologize about the camera. It says
No,
it
it's
won't
okay.
work.
Most
So
people
I
don't
gotta,
get on it. I mean, it's 3 in the
okay.
morning.
I try to turn it on, but
yeah.
yeah, I'm half asleep anyways. But it says like something about the app. Anyways, like the browser and maybe another app using it. But nonetheless, I mean, so many people have come on. I've listened to everyone. They all make great points, And Grayson, hearing his tone, I mean that sums up the mood here. I mean, this is indefensible. I mean, there's nothing else you can say. It's really, quite frankly, a dereliction of duty by the front office. I mean, at the end of the day, we are the Dallas Mavericks. Like, we don't have the same cachet as the Lakers, as even Chicago, Miami, New York, Boston. We can't attract, we've tried, but we can't attract superstars in free agency. We have to build through the draft. We have to get a little bit lucky, like with the Kyrie trade. That's kind of how the Mavs have to operate. We have to be mean, lean, savvy. That's just who we've always been. And when you stumble into Luka Doncic, and don't forget, Luka Doncic, we were rewarded with Luka for years of mediocrity and watching Dirk and his prime be squandered because we wanted to chase Dwight Howard instead of
So
running
many
back.
so many mistakes.
Yeah, instead of running back that team that had such a synergy and it was a well-rounded team. And I think that team could have made another run. Maybe we would have beat San Antonio or the Thunder, and who knows, the following year. But I have a feeling that that team had more in the tank together to achieve. And so when they did that and we squandered the last good years of Dirk's career, I took that very personally. And I've never forgiven Mark Cuban for that. I still respect him for his ingenuity, his business acumen, his passion for the Mavs. I think he was the catalyst that the Mavs needed to really resuscitate the franchise. And then going back to, and it's going to date me a little bit. I mean, I was a kid at the time. I was kind of a teenager, preteen, when they lost Steve Nash, and I remember Dirk approached Mark Cuban and said, "You're gonna replace Steve Nash with some kid," and they were talking about Devin Harris. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and I've always hung on to that, like, holy hell. And so that one's always bothered me. And then again, post championship, how we handle that. So Mavs fans, I kind of feel like Luca was like the reward for our patience and the pain we endured and in the nonsense, the mediocrity, like I said. Um, and you know what? He comes in, and we had to trade another first round pick to get him from the Hawks. Don't forget that. I mean, we basically, I mean, the Hawks probably got a better deal than what we got tonight. Frankly, I think they did. Anyways, so we bring him in, and he's just right away, he's gonna be special. He's so clutch. I mean, Luka Magic is the perfect moniker for him. I mean, he makes all these clutch shots, the most ridiculous plays, the most ridiculous passes. I'm thinking back to when we had the pandemic and they restarted, and he makes that game-winning three, I think against Memphis, where he's like doing a floater from the three-point line, and the ball ends up going in the net, and he's under the rim. Do you remember that? He's like under the basket, and he made the game-winning three. Okay, then we all know, of course, against the Clippers, a step back, the games against Boston, the game winners. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. This past playoff run, obviously what he did to OKC, and then the series against the Timberwolves. I mean, he's a phenom. And I know people use that word generational, like they want to use it, like it's almost worn out. But for Luca, it's what it's fitting for him. I mean, and not only is he a phenom, he's a global icon. What he means to Europe, the country of Slovenia. I mean, we didn't just draft I think he could be an all-time great. We drafted a global icon, right? You drafted a potential Lionel Messi. He won't have the same impact because soccer is a much bigger sport, has a much bigger impact or footprint. But that's that, like in terms of like an analogy, that's what I would say. Like you didn't just draft a great player, you drafted a global icon. And what he did for the fan base, the city of Dallas, like no matter if he only won one or two championships, you wanted to watch every night, and you were on the edge of your seat
Yeah.
because you knew Luka Doncic was playing basketball. He might go for 70 or he might put up 20, 20, 20. But you were tuned in, and he made it so much fun. He was a showman. I mean, the ultimate showman. Um, just I don't know how you do this. It's so mind numbing. And then if you are going to make a trade like this, I mean if you're going to entertain trading Luca, let's say you're tired of the conditioning, or maybe you're tired of the outburst, maybe some immaturity, whatever it is, right? None of that warrants you to totally violate the trust that we as fans in the city and the history of the franchise have in you to be a good steward of this franchise. This is a dereliction of duty. Make no damn mistake about it. The trade should be vetoed. There's NBA precedent for this with David Stern, although I don't think Adam Silver is going to do it. And I think they kind of want the Lakers to be good again to maybe increase ratings. I don't know. But this is egregious. It's a dereliction of duty, and it must be called out. This isn't one of those things where we all complain. No. We need to stage. I'm not even kidding. Stage a boycott. Call members of Congress. I'm calling Jasmine Crockett on Monday. I'm saying forget about the tariffs. That can wait. We got a Luka Doncic issue here. I'm tweeting at Greg Abbott. I'm not going to let this go. This needs Nico Harrison needs to be summoned for a grilling press conference because this is unacceptable. I don't care about the goodwill he's earned from the Kyrie trade and whatever else, and the Derek Lively draft pick and that trade get Omax. I don't care. You just traded a global icon about to turn 26 years old in his prime for one good player who's about to be 32 years old, injured all the time, day-to-day Davis, and a first-round pick in 2029. This is unacceptable, sir. I'm telling you right now, I never thought I would say this because I'm not one of those fans that will, float around and I'm a Warriors fan because of Steph, and then I'm not that guy. I'm a diehard Mavs fan for life. I've invested too much in this team, and I got drawn in when I was just a kid watching Finley, Nash, and Dirk, going all the way back to 2001. They had Juwan Howard, and they played the Jazz, and they beat them in 5. Remember that? That's when I was reeled in as a kid. And so I don't know. I might be done. This is too much.
Oh, man, thanks for joining us, okay?
All right, take care.
All right. My man Jason, we got another deep back guest. Jason, welcome to the show, man. It's been a while.
It's a while. It's going to be my last show, Kirk. Sorry to say that, but yeah, I'm just past angry at this point, just depressed. I don't want to go through all the conspiracies. I'm just putting in the chat. It's just, we need to talk about Nico, man. It's too much. I'm just thinking about this team and like how this team even looks like. Nico saying that this is going to be like the Cavs, or they want to be a defensive team. It's fucking ridiculous. It's insane to me.
Yes.
So they want to play AD and Gafford together. Both of those guys can't fucking shoot. And then you have,
AD can, but I know what you mean.
Then like you're playing like Kyrie, Clay, and then PJ. Like this team just doesn't fit at all. And like you can't even trade for Butler. You can't trade for Beal because the structures don't match. I'm just so pissed. And the shitty thing is that they're gonna say they're gonna be a win now team. Okay, I'll just say, let's say this happened, right? Let's say that Luka's gonna be out for the year.
Yep.
Like let's just say that's a fact, right? And they're saying that okay, you're not gonna be a contender in the next 5 years, right? Because when Kyrie gets old and he declines, like it doesn't matter what you have around Luka, right? You need a second star.
Yep.
So you need to go in ASAP because Kyrie, you've seen some decline. You can say that Kyrie filling out the game, but you've seen him decline. You've seen him get injuries. You just need to go in and try to win now. Okay, whatever that is. But like, if that's what you really think AD is not the player to go in for. Like, he also has injury issues. AD can't fucking shoot. So like, you're playing AD and PJ, and maybe you're even playing AD, PJ, and fucking Gafford Lively.
Yep.
Those are 3 non-shooters. You cannot succeed like that in the modern NBA. Like I like the whole, okay, attack the paint. I mean, we all like the dunks. We all like attacking the paint, but we saw the Celtics. We know what the modern NBA is like. You need to shoot threes. So like, this is going nowhere. It's not gonna work. You're gonna get spaced out by OKC. Like, even like fucking like Memphis. Like, I think Memphis could destroy this team too. It was, and then I don't know. Maybe they're like 3rd in the West this year. Like, let's be super optimistic. They're 3rd in the West. They get beat up by the Thunder. And then, I don't know, Kyrie declines, and you have Kyrie and AD for another year. And then after that, after 2026, AD leaves, or it gets injured. It doesn't matter. Kyrie's injured or whatever. And then after 2026, you do not have a pick that you own until 2031.
Yeah, that's bad,
you have a
man.
Lakers pick. That's going to be like fucking 29 because they have fucking Luka. Oh my God. So you're going to be in the wilderness for 5 fucking years. You maybe get to the second round once in these next 2 years. And then you're waiting until 2030 fucking 1 to do anything. We're just in fucking purgatory. And meanwhile, over the next 5 years, we're watching Luka destroy the league with the fucking Lakers. The Lakers won 2 to 3 titles. I don't know. I quit this team, man. I quit the NBA. I quit this team. Like, this is fucking ridiculous. I'm so pissed.
I get it, man. Thanks so much, man. Talk soon, okay?
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
Right. Bye. Patrick. Oh, sorry. I clicked for Jacob first. Jacob, how you doing, man?
Well, I'm going through it, I guess. Can you hear me?
We are going through it together.
All right, man. Where do I even begin? First off, let me just say that no matter what happens, good luck, or I wish you and Josh well on the podcast, because I just, I think Josh alluded to it earlier on Twitter, what this means for a lot of the fan base moving forward, and possibly, quitting despite, here's the thing is I never thought, because I'm really big into like fan base psychology around their teams, like
sure.
How like the what's it called, the misery index or something like that. Yeah, like Buffalo sports. I mean, you're a Chiefs fan, so you see it firsthand how snake bitten those people must feel,
right?
But so for me personally, I was born in 1997, the year before we drafted Dirk. So I've loved this team ever since I was like Nick the Quick, like even deep pulls like Austin Crocier, Desana Job, Devin George was pissing me off when I was young. I had a Josh Howard jersey, back in those days. This just reeks of ownership. And it's not just jumping ship for one player. It's jumping ship because it feels like it's an ownership group that obviously just tanked the organization for possibly non-basketball reasons. I don't want to be a fan of the Las Vegas Mavericks, and this is just purely speculation, but I was born in Arlington. I've lived in the DFW area my whole life. So I could never imagine, cheering for another team in a different location or whatever.
Right.
But this is just such a kick in the dick, man.
It's terrible.
This is like those, like, I think it was like 2 or 3 tweets that absolutely just pissed me off after, like all the reasoning is coming out. Like, everybody's trying to prognosticate what's going on behind the scenes or whatever. And then I think it was Stein. I think it was Mark that tweeted out that something along the lines of Nico saying, this is a win now move or whatever. Trading Luka Doncic and win now move does not belong in the same sentence at all. I'd say top 3 player in the league, who is 25 years old. I mean, and then they're worried about his weight, and so we trade for known Iron Man Anthony Davis.
Somebody just texted me and said this is a smoke screen for Jerry Jones.
I mean, I was going through it last week for the Schottenheimer hire.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I mean, I knew this was going to happen, but now that it's official, like I could give a fuck about this team right now. While it's another Dave Campo 2.0, the Cowboys would be lucky to win 5 games for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
And this is 10 times worse than that.
It is,
maybe
man.
even 100 times. I never thought, and as much as, because again, I was born the year after the Cowboys won Super Bowl 30. I never thought I could fully quit a team.
Yeah.
Before I could quit the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And the Mavs just might have did it. Because, I mean, that all I've known is the Dirk era. And then we lucked into this guy, during the twilight years of Dirk. We got another generational just engine of your offense who you will compete with for the next 15, 20 years, however long you keep him. You're lucky if you're lucky enough to keep him.
Yep.
And they traded the first round pick is in 4 years from now when Anthony Davis is 36 years old.
And when Luka is still in his prime.
He's 25 now. He'll be 29, 30.
Yep. It's ridiculous, man.
It's not jumping ship. It's not anything like that. That's just, I mean, when I allude to the Dirk twilight years, and we've talked about it ad nauseum, the roster building being just absolute dog shit under Mark Cuban.
Yeah.
This somehow put him in a better light to me, because I don't know if anybody else remembers, like when we got rid of Donnie and we hired the dude from the Rockets, I think it was, to be the GM or something like that.
Yeah.
When he tried to trade Dirk to the Rockets, and Cuban was like, absolutely the fuck not. Oh, and by the way, you're fired just for trying that.
Yep. Man, thanks for hanging out, okay?
Yep, appreciate it.
All right. Talk soon. Bye. All right, now it's Patrick. Patrick.
Hey,
sorry,
can you
guys,
hear me?
let me get to everybody, I promise.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You sound good.
Great. Well, thanks to everyone who's got jokes, because that's kind of gotten me through this a little bit. I just need to vent a little bit, and everyone's got their story with the Mavs. I moved to South Florida from Dallas when I was 7, and basketball, the Mavs mean more to me than just like basketball. It was how I had a relationship with my grandfather. He'd fly me back to Dallas. We'd write letters. He'd send me Dallas Morning News clippings every day, or not every day, but consistently, and I still have them. I remember the letter he wrote when they won the title, and so on and so forth. And when Dirk retired, I sobbed like a baby, and I realized it wasn't about Dirk retiring. My grandpa had passed in 2013, and it was just like me finally letting go of my relationship with my grandfather. And my nephew's a Heat fan because he grew up in South Florida, but I've kind of developed a similar relationship with him, and he was the first one who called me when this happened.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know, kind of like the last person said, all the bullshit we go through with the Cowboys, and I never have once thought of getting rid of them. And I just feel extremely disrespected by the franchise. And there's so many people with similar stories to me of they love the Mavericks, they love Luka, but they love this team, and we're all just I don't want to do this anymore. And I've never seen that for any franchise ever, anything ever happening where people are like, I've been a fan for 25 years and I'm done. So many people online saying that. And I don't think they're just saying that because I feel that way too.
Yeah.
And it screams to me, and I don't know if it screams to me like the A's the last couple of years just getting rid of whoever they have because they're moving to Vegas. It screams to me, in the dead of night, how the Sonics left. And I don't actually know if Sam Presti was with the Sonics that last year or two before they moved. I feel like he was, but I don't know either way. But I don't want to be conspiracy, but I feel like this team's going to leave. I feel like they're going, which makes no sense because Vegas just be expansion, shouldn't be a move. But this doesn't make any sense. And I don't know. I don't. I don't know. That's all I got. But what do you think about like the moving thing? Like,
I don't think they're gonna, because like the Adelsons, the Adelsons' vested interest is money, and there's so much money to be made. Like New York, it took 1 year of sports betting being legal in New York for New York to pass Vegas as money coming in. So it's like there's just too much money to be made in Texas eventually for the. So I don't think this is a thing they would want to have happen, man.
Okay. Well, I mean, I still don't know where I stand, but it honestly, like, it makes me feel like all that stuff I talked about with my history with this team, like it meant nothing.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
All right, man. Thanks so much.
Have a good night.
All right. I got to bring up my friend Anthony. Actually, you know what? Pablo's going to come first because Pablo's been waiting. A lot of you guys have been waiting a while, so I apologize. Anthony, you got to wait a couple more minutes. I'm sorry. I've been doing this for 2 hours. Pablo, what's up, man? Unmute. Click the unmute button. Give Pablo a second there. It should be down in your name. There we go. There we go. Good
It's
to
a
see
Sunday
you.
morning, and like you can see, it's the worst way to wake up. I actually thought I'm still dreaming.
Yeah, man, it's pretty not great.
As you can imagine, I've been a Mavs fan since the early 2000s. I mean, back in the days because of Dirk. And, I was in Germany back then. You couldn't watch all the games. There was no league pass. I actually listened to the radio broadcast here in the middle of the night sometimes. And, been a Mavs fan ever since. And I'm absolutely stunned. I mean, I can't believe what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's really crazy. I mean, when the Dirk era was winding down, I was wondering myself, like, what's going to happen to your Mavs fandom after that?
Right.
And then this kid from Slovenia showed up, and there was no doubt about it. Huh? I'm still going to be on board, and it's crazy. I can't believe it.
It's awful.
Because I mean, it makes literally no sense. I mean, you could have gotten so much more. And yeah, I think somebody said it before. It's like the Pau Gasol's trade once again. I mean, I don't understand how you can make a trade for Luka Doncic and then just call the Lakers and just give him to them, give him to them. So I mean, it's absolutely crazy.
It's brutal. Well, I'm sorry you started your Sunday like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm
so
glad you chose to spend it with us at least.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to grab the chance to thank you for all the times, because you were really the voice of my inner anger whenever I watched the Mavs live, at 3 a.m, 4 a.m, and they just made me crazy. And I listened to your voice on Twitter, and you really you just wrote wrote what I felt inside. So it was always good to have this like event, and I've enjoyed your coverage, and wanted to thank you, Josh Bowe, and all the other contributors at Math Moneyball, because it was really a blast. But right now it feels like I don't know, like an endpoint.
Yeah,
it's
real
so
bad.
We'll see.
All right, Pablo, have a better day. Talk soon. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye. All right, I'm going to bring up Anthony now. Sorry, guys. Hi, Anthony. Your show is going to get some more viewers. Anthony is my very, very, very old friend. He's also a Lakers podcaster, so everybody be nice to him. How you doing, Anthony?
I am exhausted, shocked. Still can't really believe it's real. I know Dallas fans probably don't really care to hear this, but like a little bummed because I have to tell Avery that the Lakers just traded her favorite player. But no, like I genuinely feel for Dallas fans today. Like genuinely.
Well, I mean, there's something afoot here. Like we may not discover it today, but there's some genuine conspiracy horseshit going on here. Now, I don't know what side, and I don't want to. I've made all sorts of assumptions tonight, just like kind of taking different devil's advocate positions. But there is no trade in the history of basketball that results in a 5-time All-NBA player getting traded for an over 30 guy that only has one pick involved. And it's actually not, it's like an actively probably mediocre pick at this point.
Well, now that they have Luka.
Right.
So there are basically two sides to the story. The Dallas
Sorry.
The Dallas side of the story here.
Not that sorry.
That like, you know, McMahon and is throwing out there is that like the Mavericks are concerned about Luka moving forward because of conditioning, because of this and that, and they believe in they want the defense.
If there was an injury concern, that's more sensible than conditioning. Because like if he was a conditioning concern, that conditioning concern just took you to the finals. So I don't buy it.
Also, like you calling him fat probably addresses the injury or the conditioning concern for the Lakers.
Right.
The Lakers side of the story that I've been able to gather, and everybody that I have spoken to is like extremely scrambled, right? But the Lakers side of the story here is that like there was some question as to whether or not Luka was going to sign his extension.
Yes.
And the thought out there is that Luka may have told the Mavericks that he wanted to be a Laker. So the Mavericks called the Lakers.
Yes. Yeah.
The Lakers,
I've heard this too.
Yeah. The Mavericks called the Lakers and said, "Do you guys want Luka?" And the Lakers were like,
Yeah, so here's the time. Like, here's just basically what happened. Anytime you can trade a 25-year-old MVP candidate who's coming off a finals appearance, you want to do it. 1, in secret with no competing offers. 2, for someone 5 years older. 3, where you don't ask for any other good players, because Max Christie is like a salary balance. Like, he's not even a real player. And 4, for someone who's always injured, and you get 29 pick. Like, I'm sorry. Like, again, you're not to blame here. You're not to blame here, but there's something genuinely afoot here. Like, that's not it. And I know Paul in the chat saying, "Oh, he's not a free agent this offseason. He was eligible to sign that extension. So if he didn't sign that extension, he effectively right. So it's like they're getting the argument is like, oh, well, they're getting ahead of the ticker, but it's like, but you didn't get anything back. I mean, you did, but not like of. Like,
no, you're right. You're absolutely right. Like,
somebody on here called it like the Mookie Betts trade.
Mookie is an example. AD actually, oddly, is an example. But in that case, the Pelicans actually made out rather well because they got all of the picks. In this case, Rob was just like, "This is all we have to offer. You're asking us to take Kleber's salary, and
sure, right? Who cares?"
And right. Like, we're getting Luka, and then I will say you'll like Max. Max, like you know, I know Dallas fans aren't interested in hearing it tonight because Luka's gone. But I do think like Max next to Kyrie will be a pretty fun little backcourt, and then you know you have Anthony Davis. Like, what do you do with like Gafford and Lively? Like, why do you have so many centers?
Right,
so
that's
why
that's why this is a crock of shit. They're basically saying like he's. The GM basically told McMahon in kind of a canned statement that like, well, we want more defense. We see what we can. And it's just like, it doesn't track. None of this tracks. I'm sorry. I'm 2.5 hours away from it now. None of this tracks. Like there's, you know, this is the sort of thing where we're going to find out several years from now that there was a decision made by one party or another. And they just decided to, you know, I'm willing to accept this if there's like a legitimate concern about the calf. Okay. I'm not, the fitness stuff is bullshit. He weighed 270 pounds and kicked the shit out of the Bucks in a preseason game.
It's part of his
coming
strength,
off of COVID,
by the way.
Like I've sent it to you.
Helps.
Do you remember the preseason post bubble picture of him playing Drew Holiday? And like Drew is bumping off of him, and there's just like rolls. It's like, it's such a funny photo. Anyway, what else you got?
Well, the other part of this that I'm kind of curious about is like, if it does eventually become public information that Luka A wasn't going to sign his extension and B wanted to be a Laker, what does that do to like how Mavs fans view Luka from then on?
I don't know, man. I don't have a good answer, because what has been evidently very clear to me tonight is no matter what angle you take, the money has gotten so large, and the ability for players to just dictate every element of what they want from a team. And when I say players, I really mean like the top 8 or 9 players. It's just, it makes it hard to want to be a fan of this sport. You know, like, I like the sport. McMahon went on a great rant about the quality of play the other day on the Hoop Collective that I think is genuinely true. But if there's this much turnover on teams every year, the further I get away from the LeBron decision, the more I think it's worse for the league's health. But that's the Luka element of it all. I don't think it's like going to necessarily sully anything, because sometimes you only get special players for a short time. In fact, that's usually the case if you get a special player. So I think I will probably always look back on Luka's time with Dallas fondly. It's just the last time I saw Luka Doncic play a healthy basketball game, my man, I'm not kidding you, was April before the playoffs. He hasn't played a healthy game in 9 months, 10 months. And like, that sucks. That's the part that I'm sad about. Like, there's no real closure involved here.
Yeah, it's difficult to like contextualize a player when he also hasn't been gone. He's been gone for so long before he gets moved. And then like the circumstances that he gets moved are this kind of foggy. Yeah, I get the Lakers play the Mavericks, by the way, in Dallas.
Yeah.
And it, according to like Stein and the reporting, leading up to this, there was hope that he might be back before the All-Star break.
They've been saying that for a month.
Yeah, now that's a little bit more ambiguous. And then, now he's working with the Lakers training staff, which, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I don't know. The reason I wanted to hop on here is to say, like, I totally, completely understand Mavs fans who are just like, fuck this. This sucks. I don't.
Yes.
Like, I think I actually think like if it does come to light that Luka like kind of wanted out or was looking at, kind of looking at the Lakers as like the greener grass on the other side of the fence, I'm really curious if like some fans decide to boo him. And I'm really curious what the response to those fans booing him would be. My instinct is to tell fans, like, fan however you want. I'm not in the business of telling people how to fan.
Right.
And in this case, it's like, because this is so weird, because the return is not what you would hope for when you trade a 25, 26-year-old perennial MVP candidate. Like, I really like the way that you framed this episode, where it's like, let's all get through this trauma together. Let's all air out how we feel about this together. Because I think, like, in the social media era, we're all like kind of policed as fans. And I think in this case, it's like, no. I feel how I feel. And if fans out there are saying like, this sucks, this smells fishy, this is all really stupid, and if it isn't fishy, then the front office sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I think those are all points that fans should be open to throwing out there, and that like shows like yours should be open to throwing out there. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to hop on here and offer up what little I know about this. To be frank, like,
thanks, man.
Nobody knew much, and here we stand.
Yeah, man. Oh my God. All right. Talk to you later, man. Have a good one.
All right.
All right. That was Anthony. Brian, welcome. Thanks for waiting, everybody. Everybody's coming on. You guys, hope you guys know us by now. It doesn't matter if we're on for another hour. So what's going on, buddy?
Man.
You just finished
Rumble.
Well, Rumble. So you're probably a little cooked.
No, actually, so funny story. So I was actually asleep.
No.
One of my good friends, Cameron Hawkins, who writes for The Ringer, very talented writer, he calls me. He's like, why are you not on the internet right now? I was just like, well, I fell asleep. I'm old. Let me sleep on a Saturday night. What else am I supposed to do? He was like, Luka got traded. I was like, why the fuck would you waste my time and tell me something that's absolutely not true? He's like, I swear on my mom's life, this Shams just tweeted this. I was like, surely this is a gotcha. Nope. And it's so weird. I've been kind of just the last couple hours, I've been kind of just thinking, I'm not even like mad anymore. I'm so dead inside right now. I just felt more empathy for everybody because, like, if you could give me some grace, I actually wanted to approach this like a couple of different subjects that haven't even been touched on yet. Because, I mean, I don't blame everybody for being so mad and distraught at this point, but I have so much empathy right now for Jason Kidd. How the fuck do you go in that locker room and sell this? Like, I don't want to feel bad for Jason Kidd. He's not a very good coach in my estimation. But now I don't feel I feel so bad for him. I feel bad for PJ Washington. I feel bad for Daniel Gafford. I kind of even feel bad for Spencer Dinwiddie. Like, I feel bad for Derek Lively, Jaden Hardy. Like, these guys that have been busting their ass. Like, I know Kevin Gray tweeted out basically at this point right now, despite all the fucking injuries the Mavericks are in, they basically have the same record they had last year, like at this same time point. And I've never seen so many writers, podcasters, and enthusiasts still be so confident in this team because Luka was eventually going to come back. And now, again, I don't understand how you sell this team. The constitution of this team absolutely makes zero sense. Like, none. Like, absolutely 0 cents. Because Anthony Davis, who's made of glass, who's had, I believe, already several calf, ankle, and Achilles injuries this year. So, I mean, from a sensibility standpoint, that, like, 10 red flags first and foremost there. But, man, it's wild to think in about a 10-day time frame, the Mavericks somehow have a lower QR rating than Jerry Jones. Like, think about that. After that press conference and all that slop, Jerry Jones was trying to sell the fans, like, kind of give everybody member berries of like the 90s.
Right.
And we're just like, Jerry, I'm almost a 38-year-old man. I don't give a fuck about that stuff. Like, get out of the way. Let somebody else do the job. And now I obviously feel so much empathy for your kids. Like, have you even had a guy like your son? Like, I'm going to feel heartbroken when you have that conversation with him because he's probably still asleep, right? I hope.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's going to be heartbroken. That makes me hurt for you and him. Like, 7-year-old, 8-year-old Brian would have been heartbroken if Michael Finley was traded.
Yeah.
Like, I would have been devastated. And what I've received so many texts, and like, obviously so have you, but like, I'm talking to, former Mavs Moneyball writer and my former podcast owner, Lauren Gunn. She's usually a very happy young lady, and I don't think I've ever seen her so distraught. I feel so bad for these.
Yeah, she's gone to Mavs games since she was like in a fetus.
Yes.
So it's like
and the very nice 20-year-old the gentleman that told his story about his brother, that kind of made me tear up a little bit. And I think that's who I'm really sad about the worst. And bigger picture, I don't understand. Like, I don't know how you sell this. And the thing about, and I feel also awful for the Mavericks held the fans down and said, hey, you're going to fucking spend $130 and watch all these goddamn games if you want to watch Maverick basketball. Like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, I was like, I'm not paying no disrespect to Falwell, I'm not paying $130 just to watch the Mavericks. I'm going to just pay a freaking $100 for NBA League Pass. Watch everybody. Like, how do you sell that to your fans? That is the biggest, like, fuck you, like, fan service. I feel so bad. Like, if I'm canceling that shit, I might even dispute it and say, no, I'm getting a goddamn refund. Like, that is not fan service at all. Like, no, like, you're wasting all this time. And bigger picture stuff is like if this would have happened when we were like, let's say 15 to 23 or whatever, the different age ranges of young folks you've already had on, we would have like gone on talk radio, probably the ticket or the fan, and yelled and screamed. We would probably still watch the Mavericks, but now these kids, man, they're not like stubborn in their own ways. They don't like to eat slop.
Yeah.
Like, and you shouldn't, as a fan base, shouldn't. They're gonna find something different to do. They might all gravitate towards the Lakers now, and that's the thing that's upsetting the most. I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories about Clutch, LeBron, whatever. Nico is dumb enough to still allow this to happen.
Yeah,
and I know relatively speaking, since the arrival of Kyrie, I would say the Dallas media scene has gotten a little bit more like very, very gentle. I would say I would say there's very like kind of poking. You'll get the occasional maybe Cuban yelling at McMahon or Cato, but it's very once in a while. Nico Harrison and Dumont better be at this fucking press conference next week. They better just be okay getting their like. I want every NBA person assembled. Like if it's your friend Anthony, like whoever can go to go. Like I don't want just the normal Dallas people. I want Windhorst there. I want whoever from the Ringer, or Tim Cato, like Stein, everybody to ask these hard questions because like you and Josh have made it abundantly clear we're probably not going to know the no for a very long time.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I think it was like a couple of callers ago, there was a gentleman talking about, what are we going to do with old Kyrie, brother? And Tim McMahon has been really the only one to point this out. Kyrie can opt out after this season. He's going to the Lakers. And that's going to be the additional nut.
That would be amazing, man. That would be.
Kyrie leaving Dallas to rejoin Luka. And that's another thing, Kirk. I don't know if anybody's really touched this. Like, this has been the perfect bubble and atmosphere. Why the fuck would you piss off Kyrie Irving? Like, if Kyrie's pissy the rest of the season, good. I don't care.
Right. Why would he go out and sacrifice his body? I don't know.
Yeah, and no, and I feel so bad from him from like a constructional standpoint. I know you and Josh will probably get more in the weeds later in the weeks to come. But if Kyrie gets hurt, I hope everybody loves the Anthony Davis, Spencer Dinwiddie experience. That's going to be lovely. brother, you think Austin Reeves not playing defense is fun? Wait till you see this. And that's not even just to make fun of Dinwiddie because it's not his fault if Kyrie has to sit out because his disc is like out of place. And we were obviously a little upset over the weekend because Kyrie got snubbed, but like it is such a disservice to those guys for busting their ass during all this stuff. And the games that they've been, they've fallen apart. Like, I mean, obviously Friday wasn't ideal, but like you've got PJ Washington, man. Like if I'm his agent right now, I say, fuck this. Get me out of here. Like, why would these guys want to stay? Like, and right now, like, do you just trade, like, for you, like, do you trade everybody right now? Or do you, like, do we just have to just accept whatever gaslighting slop Nico tries to sell the fan base during the press conference?
Yeah.
And I'm not even mad at Anthony Davis. Like, I'm not mad at the players. I'm not mad at Clutch. Like, what the fuck? Like, Nico Harrison, you did not have to do this trade. You didn't. Like, if you were so adamant to get Luka out, like, why can't you send him to San Antonio? Get 5 first-round picks back for Luka.
Yeah, that's the part. Yeah, you've heard me say
it's just very, very, very frustrating, and I don't. If the vibes are nuked in the locker room, like I don't blame the guys. And if the season falls apart, then fuck it. Like it's not even fun worth tanking. And I just, again, I'll leave. I know I've rambled a lot, and I just, I've always appreciated the opportunity of kind of like
Sure,
hopping
man.
on with Mavs Moneyball. Like, there's probably been better people to jump on than me. You've always been very kind, and Josh and everybody there. I'm just like seeing meta, right? Really fun stuff. And I'm super heartbroken for the fellow, was it from Fansided that had the really lovely Luka article?
Yes.
Yes. I want to try to find that and reshare that.
Yeah. I know which one you're talking about. Remind me later and I'll look for it.
Yeah.
Hey man, well, I've not pissed in 3 hours. I'm dying.
No,
go for it. No, my man Tyler's coming up next.
Yes. All right.
Go
See you,
for
buddy.
it. Yep. Tyler, how you doing, man?
Kirk, February 2nd, 1999, I was born.
Oh,
today is birthday number 26. And I can say for certain I will never, ever forget this one.
Yeah, man, I'm sorry.
I mean, and like, first and foremost, like, I feel bad for us. More like, I saw somebody talk about, I wonder how Luka feels on the internet. Like, who gives a shit what Luka feels? Think about yourselves for a minute. Like, we were online acting idiots trying to defend Luka from Brian Windhorst after Game 3 last year. And then, 8 months later, he's traded out the door? Like, I don't know, man. This is, and I posed this in Slack too. I was like, is this the worst day in Mavs franchise history? Granted, things will probably come out about this that will change a lot of opinions, but like, is today like the worst day that you can remember in Mavs history?
Yes. It's not close, man.
Like, I've been around for 26 years. All I've known is Luka and Dirk in my Mavs fandom. Like, I once had to sit here and ponder the question of, am I a Mavs fan or am I just a Dirk or Luka homer? Like, I've never had to evaluate what my fandom's about. It's always just been intertwined with a star who's generational talent, wise, Dirk, a guy who lived and died for this city. I mean, things may or may not come out about Luka. Like, who could say? But up at this point, he was a guy who wanted to be here. Like, the way we felt for him during that season from hell in 2023, like, I don't know if we feel that way about it, many other stars. Like, we lived and died with Luka. We watched him grow up.
Yeah.
We were all devastated when we fell in the lottery. And then we were all so excited when we traded up. like,
yeah,
we're not going to get to have to re-listen to you and Josh's podcast anymore.
I know, man. Man.
It's like part of me died today, and that sucks.
Can you filibuster for me? You got anything else?
Yeah, I can.
No, go forth. Go forth. You'll be okay. Yeah, Ash with the understated, this move was unnecessary. That's a good. Ash is my man after hopping on the show the other night when no one else did. Tyler, I'm sorry. You have a good birthday, okay? Go to sleep.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, later. Nick, man, what's up?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, it's like 3:40 in the morning here, so
it's awful.
Yeah, and you actually told me that you said that you thought it was like a clutch Lakers GM job.
I don't know. I'm throwing out so much shit against the wall. Just, it doesn't make any sense. So nothing, like, I've gotten some text messages, and look, we're 3 hours into this podcast. I don't really care.
Right.
I've gotten some text messages that some of them, like, anybody that's internet based will know what I'm talking about here. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to get myself into trouble. But if you've ever heard any of the more salacious Luka Doncic adjacent rumors, I've gotten some texts tonight that basically say the Mavericks were so concerned about some of these things that they just decided that this was too much. And like, I don't believe it. This messaging approach from me, everything feels so, this is never heard. Everyone's so shocked. But he went to one team for one trade. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. Yeah. There's something else here that we're not getting. And I don't know if it's from Luka's side or the Mavs side. I just don't know.
Yeah, I feel you on that. And then I don't know where to go from here, like as far as how to evaluate the Mavs, because I'm not like, I'm always going to be a Mavericks fan, but at the same time, I can't sit here and justify supporting and giving money to a front office and a GM team that does things like this. Like, you have a franchise cornerstone, like people have been on here saying, that is going to sell you tickets, is going to attract fandoms, is going to make the franchise relevant in NBA circles, and you just get rid of him for AD, who's a great player, but is more injury prone than Luka and is on the tail end of his career. And yes, he's tall, but he relies on his athleticism. So how long is that going to last? I think if they come out and they say that Luka's calf is more cooked than they're letting on, that's one thing. But you can't just even get rid of him for just one first-round pick. I remember telling my wife this. I was like, it'd be so hard to trade Luka, because if we trade him, we would gut that other team. Like, he is so good. I've genuinely never watched a basketball player that plays as good as him.
Yeah.
At least on offense. It's just insane to watch. But I told my wife, like, he would not be traded for that simple reason. And we literally traded him like he's, I don't know, like a PJ Washington level player. Like, this is what I would expect, like, PJ Washington to get in return or something. And honestly, right, PJ would probably get more. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is how Manchester United fans feel about the Glazers, but that's where I'm at with this ownership team in Dallas. I don't know what to say outside of, they have to explain it. Like, they have to sit here and tell us why this decision was made, and they can't BS us like on this. Like, no bureaucratic nonsense. Just tell us why. And I feel like Mavs fans are pretty willing to listen to a logical explanation. They just have to be willing to give us that explanation.
And I don't think we're gonna get a good one.
Okay.
Nick, thanks so much for staying up late. Okay.
Yep. Appreciate you.
Talk soon. Bye. Sam, what's up?
Nothing much. Can you hear me?
I can. You sound good. Thanks for joining.
Yeah. So I think I've kind of moved past the denial and anger phase of grief. I'm currently on the bargaining stage of grief.
Yep.
Like, I can understand. I don't agree with it. I'm a huge Mavs fan, huge Luka fan. Like, I can understand them wanting to move on from him, because of some of his concerns with his health. And like, even this season, I kind of noticed earlier in the year, like, he wasn't driving like he was in the past couple of years. Again, my favorite player, I want him on the team, but I can see how they could make an argument of, hey, let's get rid of this guy. I certainly can't see them making. I can't make an argument for Anthony Davis and one first-round pick. They even gave up a second-round pick. I just don't understand the return, right? If I saw 3 or 4 first-round picks, or maybe a Dalton Connect, Austin Reeves in it, then it would still hurt, but it'd be a little easier to stomach. I just don't get the return. Like, I can even understand AD, if he's healthy, and I mean, the Mavs, they got to make a trade for another playmaker. I don't think that, Kyrie and Spencer can carry us through the season. So I feel like they're going to make another move to get one of those guys. I don't know who the options are.
Yeah.
But if AD's healthy, I do think that we could actually compete in the West if we can actually make the playoffs. But future, I mean, I don't even know how. Like, even if we wanted to trade our player, I don't even know how we could. I don't even know how we could even build a future with what we have right now. It just, again, I can understand the argument of wanting to move on from Luka. Again, I disagree with it. Maybe I just think the Mavericks, maybe they just don't like him. There's probably some stuff like, look, I've watched enough Luka games. I've seen him in games. Like he is, I don't know if he's the same way off the court. They brought in Jason Kidd because he is he has a reputation for being a player's coach.
Right.
Luka has shown signs of being childish, at least on the court. I don't know about off the court, but he does some pretty silly things on the court. I think I was even reading an article today about how, it could have been nonsense, but it was about how like the Spurs were saying, "Oh, Luka is the only person we would trade for Wemby." We could have gotten so much more, and from everything I've read, it's like, no, it was just the Lakers, and other teams are saying they didn't even know Luka was available, and that's the part that I can't wrap my head around, and I think it's going back to like, hey, there's got to be something else going on because there's 29 other teams out there that probably would have given us a lot more, whether it be draft picks or even better players. I don't know. It just sucks. Maybe the Hawks did win the Luka trade after all. I don't know what to think, but we got rid of Maxey. So there's that.
Dwight Powell survived. That's the key
our
trade.
vibes guy, Markieff Morris, he's gone. Who's gonna? But
well, hey man, thanks so much. I'm really glad you stayed up late to talk with us.
All right, take care.
All right. Dre has been waiting since the beginning of time.
Hey, what's up?
Thanks for hanging out. What's going on?
No worries, bro. It's early here in the morning. I'm here in Romania in Eastern Europe. I woke up to this news. I'm not even a Mavs fan. But I saw this news. I saw what you guys are doing. I appreciate what you guys are saying, and I feel for you. I'm a Cavs fan. I'm from Cleveland originally, and I feel the pain of a superstar leaving. But what I don't get is when you have someone like Luka or like LeBron, one of these generational talents, you try everything to keep him there.
Yep.
Okay, like I just don't understand because when LeBron left, you had ads of the mayor and the governor of Ohio singing, begging LeBron to stay. Everyone got involved. We had kids writing letters in the schools, ask LeBron to stay here.
Right.
But it's like, how do you just trade him? And for nothing, you guys don't even get a chance to rebuild. You got nothing in return. I mean, okay, AD, you say you're going to win now. He's made of glass, kind of. We'll see how that works out. But one first-round pick when Mikal Bridges got, 5? Rudy Gobert gets 4. And it's like, I just don't understand how this works out. And I think Nico put it better. He was a few guys ahead of me. It's a dereliction of duty. Like, how do you not at least auction him around? Like, see what you can get. If a CEO tried selling a part of his company, he would have to get the best haul possible to get it, like, or else the board would be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yep.
What are you doing? You're fired. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And I feel there has to be something bigger around, like, behind this. I don't know if it's with his injury or if they straight up don't like him, but it really sucks here because living here in Europe, I also realize how many people got into basketball,
right?
Because of people like Luka, like Jokic, especially here in Eastern Europe, and people became Mavs fans just because of Luka.
Sure, no, there's a ton of them. I mean, that's probably like 30% of our audience.
So many, and now I'm sure like that's all I found out this morning. I woke up, it's like boom, Luka to the Lakers. Luka, I swear I thought it was April Fool's. I had to check the calendar. I just woken up. I was like, this is not real. It's not real. Like, how is this possible? And I saw the return. I was like, this is absolutely not real. Shams got hacked. But it's so sad to see, and I really feel for you guys. And I think the whole NBA feels for you, maybe except LA. But yeah, it's stuff like this that makes people hate the NBA. It's like if this doesn't get vetoed, which it probably won't. It's these small. They don't give small market teams a chance to succeed, and it's because of stuff like this. And besides that, it's just you guys, not you guys, but the ownership and the management. Like, what are they doing? I just don't get it. I'm sure a lot of people don't get it. it's a dereliction of duty. Nico didn't do his job right, and I don't get it. I think every player on that Mavs team just wants to get out and start fresh somewhere else. Because think about Clay. Clay probably came here because of Luka, and it's like Kyrie.
Yes.
And now what are you going to do with Kyrie? Because I think his contract's done in the summer. It's like, what, he's going to leave for nothing? And
Yep.
so, because he's not going to want to stay now. And so, are you going to trade him now, too? And so, what's it going to be? Just Anthony Davis and a couple nice role players? And where does PJ fit in all of this? PJ's going to come off the bench?
Who knows, man?
Or is he going to start the 4?
I bet he. Well, Davis has bitched publicly the past week about how he thinks he should play power forward. So I think, and if you're coming at this just from the Nico point of view, and let's just give Nico the benefit of the doubt, just for argument, you play Lively or Gafford at center, AD at power forward, PJ at small forward. You play a big ball lineup, and then Kyrie Irving.
I could see that happening, but
I don't love it though.
It's such a weird fit.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's really forcing PJ into that 3 spot. Where he's not. I don't think he's probably ever played the 3 in significant minutes in his entire career, and it just doesn't make any sense. And another thing is it just doesn't make sense. I'm in shock, and a lot of my friends are in shock. I'm just thinking about it here, and I go through the hoops here, and I meet so many people, and there's Mavs fans, they're Lucas fans. They start playing because of Luka, and it's just so disappointing to see that now he's going to the Lakers, and it's just going to be this big Showtime thing. It was such an organic experience. I really feel bad for the Mavs and your guys' fan base, and it's sad seeing fans that are passionate and then not seeing a league and a ownership and a management that's not passionate towards the fans back.
Yes,
it's kind of sad to see, but yeah, I don't know what else to say. I really appreciate
man,
you having me on,
yeah, of course. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, and then well, best of luck to you guys, and take it easy.
That's right.
Try to get some sleep.
That's right. All right, man. Have a good one.
You too. Bye. Thanks.
All right, coming up next, Jamie.
It's Jaime Kirk, but nice to meet you.
My second, damn it! I was sitting there.
It's all right. It's all right.
Is it Jaime or sorry?
It's that's how it's spelled in Game of Thrones. So I don't mind if you call me Jamie. It reminds me of
happening.
So I've been trying to rationalize this whole trading process. So people are online saying why didn't they go to OKC, or why didn't they go to the Jazz and get this giant pick haul from these teams that are loaded? So online they said that this trade was in the works for weeks. It wasn't something that for several weeks, right? So it wasn't something that happened overnight per se. No. In my opinion, this happened for a few reasons. Number one, Nico Harrison truly believes that he wants to win now. That's why he wanted a player like Anthony Davis, right?
Sure.
To the argument to which it can be argued forever, but that's his reasoning, right? That's the rationalization I'm trying to make for him. Number two, he didn't go to a team like OKC because in my mind I'm thinking if the Mavericks were to come to OKC saying, "Hey, I'm offering you Luka Doncic," the first thing that the Iron Bank of Sam Presti is saying is, "What do you know that we don't?" Right? What is in the folds that you know that we don't? Because there's no way you're giving us or even offering us Luka Doncic unless it's a poison pill, unless there's something that is clear to us that the Mavericks keep under wraps. Because the Mavericks keep a crap ton of things under wraps, right? They don't like talking to media about these stuff. They don't like saying stuff out loud. They like to keep it close-knit and tight.
That's right.
In my opinion, and then Tim McMahon was saying this too on the SportsCenter broadcast, the Mavericks were mad about the health and wellness of Luka and his conditioning off the court. And it's true. It's 100%. All the shit that Mavericks fans say about, Luka's too big, and even Luka haters say, Luka's too big, too fat, whatever. And then we try to internalize saying, but the Mavericks don't actually think that. That's just what haters think. That's just what people who are degrading Luka think. The Mavericks actually thought that. They genuinely thought that. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done this, right? So when Luka gets an injury like a calf injury, right, he's listed at 260 pounds. Those injuries occur because of overwork, right? A non-contact calf injury like that doesn't happen because of an accident or because of like a freak occurrence. It's not like a muscle tear or Achilles tear, etc. It happens because that muscle has been overworked for years and years of playing basketball and years of playing basketball at an exceedingly high weight, to the point where,
or at least overuse. Like I'm still not interested in the weight part, but like that's like a key part of his game. And he played a ton of basketball. Josh and I worried about this from the moment the bubble happened because they condensed all the international basketball schedule. You know, I know he's missed about 15 to 20 games every NBA season, but he's also playing a ton in the summer, and he's playing high minutes. He's playing important minutes. There's a lot of usage going on there.
Yes, correct. And and Josh was always talking about how like the high usage of Luka will eventually catch up to him. The Mavericks have been over time trying to decrease the usage of Luka Doncic to keep him. And I'm not saying I agree with any of these takes. I'm just trying to rationalize it in Nico Harrison's point of view as to why he would ever want to ship Luka out to the Lakers. But I truly believe that he thinks that Luka was not meant to last for the 5-year, $350 million max contract that they were going to offer him. Sure. I think that they were thinking that Luka at some point, because he's not, healthy enough to I mean, I hate to say it, but just to lose the weight in order to at least decrease the load of his calves, because it's lower body injuries, right? It's because of the increased usage and the increased game times, and then and then the fact that he refuses to, like, God forbid they ask him not to play for Slovenia, right? God forbid they tell him to do that, right? So all of those things, I think, accumulated to them saying, all right, Luka, go to the Lakers, etc. As to why they didn't ask any other teams, I can only guess, and I can only assume it's because the Lakers are the only team that would have been a sucker enough to take Luka no matter what, because they had no other outs. The Lakers were just like, the only way for us to improve is to take Luka, even if he is a damaged asset per se or not, right? Because they were the only team a sucker enough to do that. So unfortunately, that's the case. And then one last thing, I for the Lakers, their future, I don't think this even makes them that much better.
No, they're going to be they're going to be a mess, man. They're going to be terrible. They don't have any defense. They're going to be like the Mavericks in 2023, but I think they have a big enough lead where I'm not sure if it'll matter.
They're playing Jackson Hayes as their starting center. And they're playing an Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic, and 55-year-old LeBron James backward defense. It's going to be terrible. And they're going to have to pay Luka the $70 million over the offseason, and they're still paying LeBron $100 million because they want to keep him. So they're not going to be able to sign anyone they're not going to be able to get a PJ Washington type or Daniel Gafford type. It's not going to happen. So
they're going to get a Kyrie Irving, though.
Yeah, and I feel so bad for Kyrie. I've been a Kyrie fan for years.
If you really want to throw a conspiracy hat on, just be thinking about this. If Kyrie happens to go sign there this offseason when he opts out of the deal,
he can. There's no reason for him to stay. Why would he want to stay? Why would he want to stay? They've shown that they're going to kick out Luka. Why would they keep Kyrie when he becomes 35, right? And he's an aging guard. He's going to have injuries as well. Why would he think that this team? Why would he put his faith into this team? Right. So thank you so much, Kirk. Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
I really hope you guys don't end this, because I've been a long-time listener, long-time lurker.
I mean, we'll go as long as it makes sense. It's tough because, there's like 8 different Mav shows, and everyone needs to be honest with themselves that they largely self-support because Luka exists, and you get this 30% and now it's just not the case. Like the math might not math, but we'll see. Thanks so much, man.
One last thing. So there was an AMA for Tim Cato for DLS Mavs. He said the reason why they didn't pick you is because your wife would have gotten mad, and they wanted to save you that trouble. But thank you so much.
Tim's my buddy, but now we should all worry about these things because it's like
shit.
All right, have a good one. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Nicholas, thank you for writing. What's up, man?
Hey, Kirk. I mean, it's been a night. I found out from you, actually. I saw the notification on my YouTube. It's like, that's not real.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's 6 a.m. here in Buenos Aires, so it's been a long last night. Yeah. I am trying to process through it.
Say that again. I'm sorry. My audio cut out for a minute.
Oh no, just it's been a long enough night, and I'm trying to process through it.
I feel that, man. There's not much left to even feel. I'm just gonna be sad for a while.
It's 23 years, 24 seasons. I mean, I became a Mavs fan after I saw Dirk in the 2002 World Cup, and it's been a ride. And now I don't know how. I mean, it's been a lot.
Yeah.
How can I trust the team, the NBA? It's like, oh,
yeah,
this is fishy. It's like, why am I spending money each year in League Pass when they can help me like this?
Yeah. No, it's awful. It's an awful feeling.
I mean, I feel for you too. I mean, it's been a whole community between all the podcasts and the Mavs here. It's like, it's going to hurt a lot of people. It's tough.
It is. Well, hey, thanks so much for staying up late. I hope your day improves, but I think we both know it's likely to not.
Thank you, buddy. Have a good night.
All right. Last but not least, finishing up almost 3 hours of show. Zach, how you doing?
I've been much better. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, you sound great. Thanks for checking.
Sorry. So, Kirk, the last time I was on here on your show, I always follow, obviously huge fan. It was, I think, after one of the Thunder games in the playoffs. And I was just like, and I didn't hop on for any of the finals ones. I was like, you know what? Even if it's not next year, over the next 6-7 years, I'm sure there'll be another time we can break down a Mavs playoff game, something Luka did in the conference finals. So I'm 27. I don't know exactly how old you are. I know you have a kid, but like my memory of the Mavs, like here's like my, and I'm just venting to you for a little bit. Tell me to shut up. But my memory of the Mavs, I first became a really big basketball fan when I was like 9 or 10 years old. My first season watching the Mavs was the 67-15 year.
Good year.
Where Dirk won the MVP, and then we lost to the Warriors. So my tenure is amazing season, disappointment, then those string of first-round losses, like losing to the Hornets, getting upset by the Spurs, then upsetting the Spurs, losing to the Nuggets. Then we win the title, and then it's 8 years of incompetence, and we get Luka. And if I'm being honest with you, I said, like, I'm young to preface the fact that I feel like someone just died in my life.
No, I mean, buddy,
I genuinely feel like someone is dead. Like I was sorry, go ahead.
No, Jeff Cooperstein, who's Chuck Cooperstein's son, he does some sports stuff too. He used to work for Mavs Moneyball. He said, there will never be a player half as good as Luka to come through Dallas again. That's not hyperbolic because top 3 players, like most guys who are considered top 3, top 5, top 10, you just don't get those guys. Like it's so absurd. It's insane.
I was I'm in New York, so I'm an hour ahead. I was at a buddy's wedding tonight in Midtown Manhattan.
Oh wow!
I'm on the dance. I'm having a great time. I just put money on actually trying to see if I could get a good deal on the Suns coming back against the Blazers. So I was following that game a little bit. They were losing, so I put my phone away, and then I get these texts 4 hours ago, and I used to live in California before. It's all these Lakers fans who I was friends with, like taunting me, of course, because of course they are. And I was like, this is a joke. The Shams tweet, I was like, okay. I literally thought it was like a Centel or like, the fake account. Okay, so now that I've vented, I was just talking to Mavs Film Room about this.
Right.
I have been trying every way to triangulate. Like Josh, Josh tweeted, I can understand how the Mavs could want to be done with Luka. Like I didn't want to be, but if you look at the facts, you can understand how they'd reach a point to be like, let's explore. But after that, it's like if you're going to trade for AD, that's a clear mismatch. You should be getting every pick in the war chest. And it shouldn't even be a negotiation. Pelinka should be like, okay, yeah, take all of our picks. Give us Luka, because that's still a discount. The fact the Lakers got to hold on to picks, and then we have to send out a pick to help the Lakers facilitate salary to Utah.
Yep.
Nico is such a smart, or I thought was such a smart, intuitive guy who knows the locker room. I went to hear him speak at the Sloan Sports Analytics Conference in Boston last year, because it just so happens that weekend of the conference, the Mavs were in town playing the Celtics in Boston. So Nico spoke, and he very vividly talked about like his and Monty McNair was up there with Daryl Morey, and Monty and Daryl were very much talking about like analytics and numbers. And Nico was talking about how much he values just personalities and fit. So, and I just like trusted him even more after that. All of that aside, even if there was a red flag, I don't get how Nico can process like that the rest of the team will be mentally stable after that. Like even if we were like Kirk, even in a world in which, and I'm sorry, I'm so fired up.
All right, man. Oh, I was fine. I mean, I've been doing this for 3 hours. I've lost a little bit of my gas.
So I'm here to give you some more energy. Even in a world in which like we get set, like I'm not exaggerating, 8 first-round picks and like
right. I know what you mean.
Like if we trade with the Heat and we got like Khalil Ware, 8 first-round picks, Tyler Hero, I would still be like, damn, well, okay, but how's PJ still going to be so tenacious, and Hardy and Kyrie, and how do you not foresee the dominoes that are almost certainly going to come? And I apologize, I know you've been on here for 3 hours. I'm sure
man, it's fine.
But there is no chance Klay Thompson, who literally said I wanted to come play with Luka and Kyrie,
right,
like is here for the rest of his contract.
Right. If I'm Klay, I'm asking out tomorrow too.
Yeah, like I'm trying to be gone before the deadline if I'm Klay, because like he struggled since Luka's been out. Like adding AD is not going to help that. I'm such a loyal fan. I bought a ticket to the finals, and then they went down 0-3, and I almost was going to sell it. And I was working in Portland over the summer. I still flew back on a red eye to be able to make, and I really don't know if I can keep being a fan of this team. If I'm being really honest.
I get it, man. You're not alone. That's what I've mostly heard tonight. Really?
And I'm a passionate, like, prisoner of the moment person, but it's now 4 hours later. I was also slightly inebriated when the news first came out, and I was thinking this is all just a joke. And I'm totally sober now. And this is traumatizing. Yeah. Like, it's truly traumatizing. So it's I can't believe it. I'm stunned. And I hope Luka goes and wins a championship with the Lakers. I mean, like the fact that Luka didn't ask out, like I'm
still not convinced of that.
Really?
Yeah, because it's the Mavericks went to one team that didn't have any actual trade assets and got one good player and a mediocre draft asset back. Like, there's something else afoot here. I've been saying it all night. We might not find out tonight. We might not find out for several years. But this is the 17th anniversary of the Pau Gasol trade to the Lakers. And, you know, that trade had some real problems. Like, there's just – I don't want to sit here and act like something that I know something that I don't, but I do know how negotiations work, and you don't make a negotiation with one team like that. I don't care how much he values Anthony Davis, meaning Nico Harrison. The margin between Anthony, it's like the gap between Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic in the NBA best player ranking is so much, like it gets exponentially wider is the point. So, and anyway. We'll see, though, man. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but it doesn't make sense.
And this was, you know, when I started the conversation, seeing like every angle for this to make sense. Even if that's true, though, we have a 2-3 year sample size of Nico being a shrewd, smart, competent businessman who, you know, we didn't like the KP trade when it first happened, but we realized like had to get rid of it. He added another guard. You know, we split our aces. But then, the Gafford trade, the draft night trade to get Omax, like doing something Donnie Nelson never would. Let's use this salary to pick up an extra asset. So even if what you're saying is true, Kirk, that Luka asked out, then the process after that makes no sense, is what I'm saying. Like
the way NBA players have control in this league, the threats and the things, I just can't help but shake it, man. I could be wrong. Again, I hope I'm wrong. But it with what they got back, I'm just in a difficult place.
I hope you're right. Because it'll at least make more sense then if Luka asked out. Because that's what, my first response was rage. You're muted, Kirk, but I'm
walking through my house carrying my laptop, trying to figure something out.
Yeah, all good. But yeah, I mean, yeah, my initial response thought, like when I was on the dance floor at the wedding, he asked out. I hate Luka. We all hate Luka now. And then it's like,
go ahead though. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to do something, and I was like, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm losing my mind at this point in the evening.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Especially you've been talking. I mean, I like to consider myself like an analytical, like rational man who like is very passionate, but like I don't know if you remember like way back when you definitely don't remember this because we hadn't had one yet, but I remember talking to you on Jake Fisher's.
Sure, I remember doing that one. Okay, yeah.
And I remember how upset you were about the KP trade, and I don't know if you remember the details of the conversation, but I remember telling you like, look, I get it, like we turned maybe $1 into 3 quarters, but it's 3 really good quarters and valuable quarters. Like I saw the logic there, KP,
sure.
And I saw even when Donnie Nelson made his really dumb moves, like deadline moves, like when he said he was going to make a trade and he sends like at the time valuable 2nd-round picks for a wash JJ Redick, like one of his last trade deadlines. I'm like, okay, well, I squint really hard. I can see like veteran sharpshooter. Rick likes his vets.
Uh-huh.
I guess the last big trade like this in the NBA before this, and it's not even close, but like the Cat trade where I actually didn't, I mean, in hindsight, the Knicks won that trade, but I didn't mind that for the Wolves. I was like, okay, you want to, not be paying Cat as much because of the second apron. I also saw now we're under the luxury tax. Like, I think Bobby March tweeted that. I thought that was an interesting note. The fact that now we're under the luxury tax, if it's still a win now move, like you would think you'd want to maximize the dollars you're getting back, like the player dollar value, if it truly is a win now. But clearly, maybe that was a motive too.
Yeah.
My friends and I think part of this conspiracy is the new ownership not only signed off on it, but maybe encouraged it because that way it'll make it easier to take the Mavs out of Dallas and move them to Vegas.
That's kind of been the repeating talking point, but like I'm kind of the opinion, and this is very conspiracy alley, but like I think that I think they want LeBron James to be and Rich Paul to be partial owners of the Vegas team, and I think they want it to be an expansion team. Like I don't think and that's just my take though.
Yeah, I guess the last point to try to make this analytical is the Lakers are not going to accomplish any. I mean, they'll obviously make the playoffs and everything, but like their roster construction is more like honestly, it's the most like the 2023 Mavs. Like obviously,
I mentioned that earlier. It's very similar because they have two ball handling guys and no defense.
Because I watched AD's last game, when he got hurt against the Sixers, and I watched just how their defense crumbled, because they have no good backup bigs, and you had like Yabusele and Ricky Council and obviously Maxey just torching them in the paint. They're going to be worse on the perimeter now. I don't know how good Max Christie was, but I'm sure he was a better perimeter defender than Luka. So Lakers aren't going to win anything, but I mean, from a financial perspective, they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like, I could keep going for an hour. I know you're
no
tired.
worries, man.
I've
Go forth.
Yeah.
Come back. We'll keep doing these shows, okay?
Thanks, Kirk. I appreciate you doing this.
Sure thing.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Right. So we got 2 more people waiting. Guys, I'm dying. All right. Coming up next is Jesse. How you doing, Jesse?
Kirk, what's going on, man?
Oh, it's been a long evening.
Man, it's been a long time since I spoke to you. It's probably been about 1.5 years, 2 years, but had another baby. So
congratulations and welcome back. I wish it
too.
was under better circumstances.
Right. I had to come on. I think the last time I spoke to you was during the 23 season and I still saw your shows on the 24 season when we went to the finals and everything. But the last time I went on and spoke to you was that time that I was so fed up with Luka. And I'm like, just get rid of him. I don't know if you remember that.
Many people have expressed that feeling over, like, in a moment of frustration and
I was
whatnot.
like, just get rid of him. He doesn't try, if he's going to pout. It's just so talking to my wife, we were shocked when I saw the news. I was like, oh my gosh, like they really got rid of him. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, he's not the perfect player. Okay. So we know that. We've always known that he's our player, but he's not the perfect player. So we almost have like a sense of like ownership over him to like, that's why I think the Mavs fans are hurting right now, is because we see him as ours. And it's hard, it's hard to go through watching a team for, since 2011, right? All of a sudden, Dirk had his finals MVP, won the, finals. And after that, the team gets deconstructed, and then it just was in purgatory, right? For like playoff purgatory for 5 years.
Yeah.
And then they're done. And then all of a sudden you get lucky into Luka, a little bit of trading and everything else. But then now the team is good, I guess. But now it's just like, what do we have here is what I'm getting at. Like, it's just weird. It's just a weird thing. So I wanted just to come in and say that. Like, I was like, I wanted him gone for the reasons of like, he's not the perfect player. But then you come to your senses. You're like, okay, what are we going to do better?
That's right, man. I get it.
So,
well, thanks so much for hopping on, though.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, have a good night. I just wanted to get that out. Just
appreciate it. All right. Talk soon. Bye. All right. Last but not least, a great handle, 25 years, and fuck the Mavs. How are you?
Hey, Kirk. Can you hear me?
I can.
Well, yeah, it's been a day. You can probably tell from my accent, I'm European. I just woke up and I got punched in the nuts, like really hard. So, yeah. For me, I've been here since Turkey. I love the Mavs. And if all of this is true, then my handle says it all. I can't believe it. It's absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
Worse than defeated. It's like, I don't know, worse than breaking up with your wife or so. It's like,
sure. Because you don't get any say. I mean, none of us are ultimately responsible. We're just having to watch.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's like, it also feels shitty, like I watch you and Josh like basically daily, and I don't know if I can watch the Mavs again. It's like, I woke up and it's like April Fool's shit. It's like ridiculous. Yeah, maybe I'm just fresh to it, so maybe I'm more of a downer than most other people. It's like just a punch in the gut. Maybe the balls would be more fitting. Yeah, but yeah, thank you very much for doing this and letting people cope. It's worst thing is that it's the Lakers. It's of all teams. I even hate their colors. It's like,
I get it.
I watched like some Sports Center coverage, and every time I saw those colors, it was like, fuck. Yeah. Well, I don't want to keep you any longer. Everything has been said that this possibly be said.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Take care,
have a better day. Have a good one. Talk to you.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. I know this is what anybody wanted. We'll have more. Josh and I'll post another podcast tomorrow after the game. But for now, it's so long. We'll see you tomorrow. Go Mavs.